Welcome. Dear listener, open your heart to tonight's journey through the Psalms. I come to your bedside with a quiet lamp and a steady voice. I sit in the hush that gathers after the day. Soft light rests on the pages. The room breathes with you. Breathe in slowly. Hold for a soft beat. Release. Breathe again. Let the rhythm slow. Let the shoulders fall. Let the jaw unclench. Let the breath be a gentle tide. Each exhale eases a little more of the day's weight. Each inhale brings a small, calm assurance. Tonight's reading walks through the Psalms that soothe. The words hold rest. They speak of comfort. They speak of mercy. They bring a steady hope in Christ. This is not a lesson. It is not a debate. It is a quiet offering for the soul. The tone is gentle. The pace is slow. Let the images sink in like warm oil. Listen with the ears of someone who has labored. Listen like a child who returns to a safe place. I invite you to place a hand over your heart. Feel the steady beat there. Feel the presence of one who watches over the night. The Psalms often picture a shepherd, a steady keeper. They picture a refuge, a shelter found in the dark. Let those images ease the mind. Let them calm the restless thoughts. Tonight, I do not rush. I read with pauses. I allow silence to hold the meaning. In those spaces, your soul can breathe. In those spaces, a quiet assurance grows. If a thought intrudes, name it softly and let it go. Return to your breath. Return to the steady sound of the voice. There is permission here to be still. Imagine a small room by the sea. The window is open a crack. A cool breeze passes in. It carries the faint smell of salt and damp wood. The moon rests low. Waves sigh on the shore. A single chair sits near the window. I take that chair and call to you across the small distance. The Psalms are like that sea. They rise and fall. They speak to the deepest unrest. They bring a kind, persistent comfort. Think of a lamp that is never fully blown out. It dims with the day. It hums with warmth. That light is like the mercy we read about. It does not chase away the night all at once. It simply shows enough to find the next step. Mercy comes the same way. It arrives quietly. It stays close. It makes the path safer. There will be images of shelter in tonight's reading. There will be promises of protection. There will be honest cries. The Psalms do not hide sorrow. They also do not leave sorrow alone. They fold sorrow into hope. They set grief beside quiet trust. This night holds both. It invites rest even in the middle of pain. As I read, let your thoughts come without judgment. Let old worries pass like clouds. If doubt appears, hold it gently and do not grip it tight. The Psalms are patient with doubt. They name it. They also offer a steady hand. There is mercy in that tenderness. There is hope in that steadiness. I will speak of Christ as a shelter. I will say of mercy as a lamp. I will keep the language plain. This is not a sermon. It is a bedside reading. The aim is calm. The aim is assurance. The aim is to remind the heart that God's steadfastness is near, like a soft blanket around the shoulders. before the reading begins in earnest, make small adjustments that bring comfort. Adjust the pillow to cradle the neck. Let the knees bend if that eases the back. Cover the feet if they are cold. Settle into a posture that invites sleep if it comes. Keep the hands loose. Rest the gaze softly if the eyes stay open. Allow the body to sink a little into the mattress. Stay present to the gentle sounds of the room. I will pause between each short passage. In those pauses, allow a prayer to arise. If one comes, a simple phrase will do. A single word is enough. If nothing arises, simply rest in the quiet. That quiet can be a prayer too. It can be an acceptance. It can be a letting go. Tonight's psalms speak also of gratitude. They do not pretend that life is perfect. They name trouble and give thanks at the same time. That strange mix steadies the heart. It reminds the listener that mercy is not dependent on ease. Mercy visits when the night feels long. It rests where the wounds are raw. If sleep comes in the middle of the reading, lid it. The words will continue to rest like a soft blanket. If waking occurs later, return to the reading as if returning to a friend. There is no perfection required here. There is only an invitation to be known and cared for. The voice will remain gentle and steady. The pace will be slow. Each sentence lands softly. Each pause opens space. This method gives the mind room to receive without strain. It helps the body to relax by the measure of sound. Sound becomes a lullaby of trust. I do not demand attention. I only offer it. Like a warm cup passed across a low table. Take what comforts you. Leave what stirs discomfort. The Psalms are broad enough to hold both kinds of feeling. Mercy takes both into its arms. Picture now a path lit by small stones. Each stone glows faintly. The path leads to a small door that opens onto a quiet garden. You walk that path at a slow step. The night is mild. Crickets talk in the hedges. A single tree stands by the garden gate. Its branches brush the sky. In that tree rests a quiet assurance. That assurance is the presence of the one who keeps watch. As the reading begins, remember that hope is not always loud. Sometimes hope is the small, steady light that refuses to go out. Sometimes it is the hand that reaches across a dark room. Sometimes it is a whisper that says you are not alone. The Psalms carry such hope. They wrap it in plain language and familiar images. I will not read long sections without a pause. Each line will be short enough to digest. Each image will rest before the next arrives. This keeps the mind from rushing ahead. It allows the heart to settle into the present. If words stir memory, let them come. Allow those memories to be tended gently. If the night brings anxiety, notice it and breathe into the center of it. Let mercy attend that place. Let hope breathe warmth into the tightness. By the end of this opening, the aim is simple. To invite rest, to remind of mercy, to offer hope in Christ without heavy words, to make a small space where body and mind can quiet, to leave a listener more peaceful than at the start. Now ready yourself. Settle the blanket around the shoulders. Close the fingers lightly. Rest the head. I will begin with the first psalm designed for quiet rest. The reading will flow slowly. The pauses will be long enough to sink into. The images will stay gentle and present. If a sentence lands on a tender place, let it sit there a while. Do not hurry it away. Allow the soft light of mercy to rest on that spot. Allow the promise of care to soak in. Let hope do its quiet work. When the reading moves on, carry the piece with you like a small lantern. Keep it close to the heart. If sleep comes before the end, let it come with the blessing of these words. If wakefulness continues, stay with the voice until the end of the reading, and then rest a little more in silence. This invitation ends with a small blessing. May the night's quiet be a balm. May mercy find the places that ache. May hope sit softly by the bedside. May Christ's gentle presence be a steady light through the night. Now I begin. I lift the book and begin to read in a low voice. The pages dampen the room's stillness. Each sentence drops like a soft stone into a shallow pool. Ripples move outward and then settle. A shepherd moves into the mind. No hurry marks those steps. The shepherd guides through green fields. The fields smell of morning dew and quiet grass. Water flows. Calm and small, the sound asks nothing. It only keeps company with the heart. The feet find easy ground. Tension loosens in the calves. The jaw relaxes. The breath takes a slower measure. In this place, the soul is offered rest. The shepherd lays a hand on the shoulder of the weary. Presence becomes the first kind of mercy. When shadows gather on the path, the shepherd does not vanish. A staff steadies the walk. A staff is not a threat. It is a steadying weight. It reminds that the way forward is not always walked alone, even through a valley that feels like night. There is a guiding hand. The valley keeps its cool. The guide keeps a close light. A table stands in the open. Even when danger lingers nearby, food appears where hunger seemed certain. The heart that feared emptiness learns the shape of abundance. A cup fills and spills over the brim. Enough becomes more than enough. Gratitude settles like a soft blanket on the shoulders. Mercy follows as a quiet companion. It does not announce itself with trumpets. It simply treads behind, close enough to warm the heels. A kind of blessing walks near each day that dawns. It waits patiently for the heart to notice. When noticed, it melts a little of the cold. Safety is pictured as a shelter. A shelter is small and intimate. It has thick walls and close rafters. Inside the shelter, the noises of the world dim. The shelter does not deny life's storms. It only narrows them to a scale that can be borne. In that narrowed space, courage reassembles itself. Grief is allowed its place. Tears are not shamed or hidden. They are held like rain in cupped hands. The Psalms never ask for bravery that erases sorrow. They ask for honesty. They listen to the ache and then offer a quiet mercy to rest beside it. Sorrow and hope sit together like two old friends. Hope is not a noisy thing. It is a small lantern left on a windowsill. It throws just enough light to find the next step. The lamp does not dispel all fear. It simply helps the feet to move. Sometimes hope is a hand that brushes the wrist in the dark. Sometimes it is a whisper that says, there is someone keeping watch. Sin and failure are not the last words in these lines. They become a chance to know mercy anew. A wrong turn is folded into a larger map. Grace redraws the path without erasing the lessons. The heart remembers the misstep and then learns gentleness towards itself. Redemption is not a performance. It is a slow mending. A stronghold appears as a place where the spirit can breathe. It is not a castle of triumph. It is a simple room where breath deepens. Inside it, courage grows quietly. Shame does not climb the walls. Fear lowers its voice. In such a room, the heart begins to answer the call to peace. I read slowly. Each phrase is given room to land. Between lines, silence is allowed to swell. In that silence, the breathing body can draw meaning in. The mind is encouraged to rest. Nothing is demanded, only offered. The Psalms speak of steadiness. The earth may shake, waters may roar, yet a steady keep remains. It is a refuge not because it makes trouble vanish, but because it holds close when trouble comes. Trust builds not on the absence of storm, but on the certainty of a faithful presence. Gratitude surfaces in surprising places. A sunrise after a long night feels like mercy. A small kindness, given or received, becomes a light. Naming those small mercies becomes a slow prayer. The voice need only say a word or two, even a single thank. You can open a space in the chest where hope sits down. When fear presses, the Psalms speak simply. They call for a turning of the face toward a steady love. The call is gentle. It is a reminder of a presence that neither abandons nor castigates. The presence steadies the breath and loosens the hands. Fear begins to lose its edges. Loneliness finds company in the words. The reader becomes a companion in the room. The book becomes a neighbor at the window. Even the silence between phrases can be company. This night is not about solving every worry. It is about offering a place where worries can be set down for a while. There are images of seeking shelter under wings. That shelter feels like a cloak wrapped close. It muffles the noise. It gives warmth. Under such wings, the body stops trembling. Muscle enclenche. Sleep may come as a gentle surrender. If sleep arrives, let it take what is ready to leave. If wakefulness lingers, allow the voice to keep watch. Hope is pictured as a journey back to home. Sometimes the road home is uneven. Sometimes it is hard to find. Yet the path curves toward welcome. The home is not always a perfect place. It is simply a good place to rest. It has food and light and a listening ear. In that home, mercy sits at the table. Justice and kindness are paired in these lines. They do not march like soldiers. They move like neighbors carrying baskets. Kindness is practical. It meets need with hands and steady eyes. Justice steadies the scales, but does not do so with cruelty. The aim is restoration, not vindication. Companionship is more than mere presence. It is attuned attention. It notices small details. It remembers names and stories. It keeps promises small and practical. A companion in the night brings a lamp and a cup of warm water. That simple tending calms the nervous system. The body relaxes when it knows someone notices. The reading slows to a near whisper. Each image is allowed to rest against the listener's ribcage. Breathe in slowly. Let the air move down, and then back out, like a gentle tide. The voice continues, low and steady. The pace is unhurried and kind. When anger surfaces, the Psalms do not hide it. Anger is named, and then guided toward a wise calm. Righteous anger is not the same as a hot, consuming rage. It is a focused sadness that seeks right. The Psalms teach how to hold sorrow and anger together without letting either corrupt the spirit. Faith looks forward with patient eyes. It does not demand immediate proof. It waits alongside ordinary life. The waiting is active in a gentle way. It prunes impatience and keeps the heart soft. Waiting becomes a form of quiet trust. Memory is treated kindly. Past failures do not remain prisoners. They become part of a larger story of growth. The Psalms invite the remembering of mercy already given. Recounting small salvations helps to steady faith. The mind recalls a time when help arrived. That memory warms the present. Comfort often appears in simple language. No grand theology is required. The words press close, like a hand on a wound. They say, here is care. Here is a steady watch. The voice that reads does not lecture. It simply conveys what has been found to be true again and again. Near the end of this passage, a gentle invitation is offered. Rest here a while. Let the words settle. Let the images sit on the tongue like a small, sweet fruit. If sleep comes, accept it as a gift. If wakefulness stays, keep the breathing slow and the posture soft. Mercy is not limited by whether eyes are open or closed. A short silence follows each line now. Let the silence be a place of keeping. If a prayer rises, speak it softly inside. If no words come, let the silence hold what remains. The moment itself is enough. I close this short portion with a deliberate pause. The page rests. The lamp dims slightly. A hand lowers slowly from the book. The night continues outside the window with distant, patient sounds. The mercy of these lines lingers in the room like a warm breath. We will continue soon. For now, carry the gentle images with care. Place the lantern of hope near the heart. Allow mercy to rest on the edges of the day and make a small space for sleep. I lift the book again. The cover rests warm from my hands. The night breathes with a quiet patience. I begin with a single line meant for lying down. I speak it slowly, like a key turned in a quiet lock. The thought is plain and firm. True peace and safety find their dwelling in the one who keeps watch. I do not read in a rush. Each word is an invitation. I ask nothing of the mind but to notice. Rest is not a thing to force. It is a place to be welcomed into. I tell this now. I let the voice be steady and small. The room listens in soft pulses. Imagine a small boat that has coasted through a long day. The oars are set aside. The hull bumps gently against a wooden pier. No storm remains. The harbour holds. Ropes are thrown, and knots are tied with careful hands. The boat breathes out. A person on board lays a sack down and leans back. The muscles stop policying every small movement. The need to row is over, for now. Finding rest is like that. It begins with setting down the oars. It starts by naming the work finished for a night. A simple act of letting go opens a space. I invite a slow exhale. Let tensions roll away from the shoulders. Unclench the jaw. Soften the face. The body obeys when the mind gives permission. I read a line that promises shelter. The line does not erase the day's hardness. It promises a place to be held in the midst of it. A hand reaches across the small distance between heart and world. The fingers close not to grip, but to steady. Trust is not a sudden, blinding illumination. It is a soft hand laid on a weary shoulder. Lay out the burdens one by one. Name them quietly, without judgment. A single breath for each weight. Some are old, some are fresh. Each one is allowed to rest on the table. Then picture a companion who takes each burden with a gentle nod. The companion does not scold. The companion does not hurry. The companion keeps a steady look and a steady heart. Mercy moves slowly like warm syrup poured over a cool cake. It soaks in without tearing. There is a verse that says the night is kept. It is not a boastful guard. It is a faithful presence. Like a lighthouse on a dark shore, the light does not remove the wave. It only says, here remains a steady point to aim for. A ship can reorient. The mind can find its north. Hope is that little light. I ask that the hand rest over the heart now. Feel the pulse there. It is quiet, but it keeps time. Breath in. Hold for a soft count. Breathe out. With each exhale, imagine a small loosened knot within. Muscles let go in layers. The breath becomes a thread, pulling through those knots until they unbind. Sleep is not the only gift of rest. There is a rest before sleep that is equally holy. It consists of a settled view. It is a lowering of the watchfulness that has been on all day. In that rest, the mind can be tender. It can be kinder with its own mistakes. It can recall small mercies without needing to fix everything. Think of a quilt made from many small scraps. Each scrap is a piece of a life. Some are bright, some are faded. The quilt holds heat because it is stitched by a steady hand. Mercy stitches the pieces together. It does not pretend the fabric is new. It simply keeps everything warm. There is comfort in the patchwork. When worry rises, like a quick tide, give it a name and then give it a place. Some worries can stay in a corner of the room, like an open book. A page or two may be read later. Some worries can be folded and put under the pillow until morning. Others can be set outside, near the door, with the promise to return in daylight. None need be wrestled in the thin air of night. A steady image helps here. Picture a small hearth with a low fire. The flames do not leap too high. They do not demand attention. They offer warmth and gentle light. A kettle whispers on the back. The warmth seeps into the bones. The nervous system hears the consistent crackle and eases. That crackle is a kind of mercy. It is a practice of rest. I speak of Christ as a keeper in plain words. This keeper is like a gentle watchman who does not disturb the room. The keeper sits just beyond the bed. not to police sleep, but to ensure the door stays shut against fear. That presence is steady and unobtrusive. It steadies the listening. If memory returns in the dark, allow it to be a guest. Greet the memory with a small kindness. Notice any ache it brings. Place that ache under the lamp of mercy. Watch as light softens the edges. The memory does not vanish. It is transformed slightly, made more bearable by the attention and the small light. There are times when the mind spins with questions that have no immediate answer. In those nights, rest is an act of trust. It is the choice to breathe and to return to the simple things within reach. The breath, the heartbeat, the warmth of the blanket. These are immediate anchors. If answers come, welcome them. If not, keep the anchors close. I offer a short, quiet image now. A shepherd closes the gate of a small fold. The sheep do not need a perfect pasture to be calm. They need to be contained and given care. The fold keeps them from wandering into danger. Rest arrives when a person feels contained in a gentle care that does not shame wandering. Containment here is safe, like the walls of a small room that soften loud weather. When guilt presses, name it. Speak its outline in a soft inner voice. Then bring that outline to the light that forgives. Forgiveness is not a theatrical erasure. It is a steady repatterning of the heart. It lets work done be folded into a different shape. It teaches new muscles the way to hold regret without letting it grind the night to pieces. The rhythm of prayer can be a lullaby, not a string of demands, not a litany of outcomes. A simple rhythm thank. Ask. Rest. Thank for small mercies today. Ask for simple needs tonight. Rest in the assurance that the asking is heard. The mind grows quieter when speech becomes a rhythm rather than a chase after control. I read small phrases slowly and softly between them. I allow silence to stretch. In that silence, the body can find its place. If eyelids grow heavy, let them close. If they remain open, let the mind follow the slow breath. Either path is welcome here. Light often matters. A dim lamp on a bedside table does more than provide vision. It keeps a human scale to the world at night. The small circle of light around the hand, the book, the mug. It reminds the mind that the world is not altogether dark. That circle is a visible mercy. Keep it if it comforts. Let it go if it distracts. Compassion toward the self is a practice worth doing very quietly. Speak to the heart as a friend. Say gentle truths. Acknowledge effort. Offer permission to pause. The inner voice that fosters calm is not loud. It is steady and true. It knows failure and still speaks with warmth. There is an image of harbor bells that chime not to call a rush, but to mark that a ship has arrived safely. Allow that sound inside the chest. It is a small bell. It says, you are arriving into rest. No further speed is required tonight. I pause here and let the room fill with a soft hush. The book settles slightly. The lamp breathes out less light. The breathing in the room slows by a few beats. This is not the end. It is a careful rest before the next portion. A place to let the small mercies already given make themselves home in the body. If a prayer rises, offer it now in one soft sentence. If no words come, simply hold the silence. Both are a form of receiving. The line between waking and sleep thins. The promise that safety dwells near grows steadier in the heart. I close this portion with a gentle assurance. The watch continues. Rest here a little while. The next reading waits. Patient and kind, I lift the book and let the cover settle against my palm. The page opens with a quiet claim. It says that happiness comes to the one whose wrongs are taken away. It speaks of relief when burdens are lifted. That relief is not loud. It arrives like cool water on a parched face. Breathe in slowly. Hold one soft beat. Breathe out. Let the breath be a steady tide. With each exhale, imagine a small stone sliding off the shoulder. Picture those stones, arranged on a table by the bed. They are heavy only while held. When placed down, their weight becomes bearable. Forgiveness has a simple face. It is not a judgment that crushes. It is a hand that opens. The hand does not ask for a perfect explanation. It asks only to be trusted with the burden. The relief that follows is like air returning after a long dive. The chest expands. Muscles inknut. A small laughter can rise without force. I do not speak of clever answers. I do not demand a heroic confession. Instead, name one weight. Quietly. Use one short sentence in the mind. Let that sentence be honest. No show. No performance. A single whisper inside is enough to begin the letting go. Imagine now a small basin of water by the bedside. The water is clear and calm. Dip one hand into it. The surface receives what you place there. The water does not tally faults. It accepts and holds. Each burden laid into that basin looks less ominous. The ripples fade. Light skims the top. What was once a heavy thing feels changed by the touch of that quiet water. There is a happiness in being seen and forgiven. It is not the same as relief. From consequence, it is a deeper lightness. The spirit breathes easier. Sleep comes without the sharp edge of shame. The mind rests because the standing accusation loosens its grip. Peace is not simply the absence of trouble. It is the presence of pardon. Confession in the Psalms feels like stepping into a warm room after a cold walk. The doors are not locked. The fire is already lit. The voice that listens is not a critic waiting to tally failures. It is a steady keeper who knows the name and calls it again without scorn. This knowing turns the heart toward rest. Think of forgiveness as a voucher for mercy. It does not erase the lessons learned. It rewrites them into a new pattern. Where guilt once tightened like a band, forgiveness softens the cord into a ribbon. The ribbon can be laid aside. The body relaxes. The nervous system slows its guard. There is also a humble joy in the giving of forgiveness. Picture the one who forgives as a gardener kneeling in a small patch. The gardener prunes dead branches with careful hand. The pruning does not punish the plant. It makes room for new growth. In the same gentle way, being forgiven opens a small space inside where fresh life can take root. When shame presses close in the night, Bring to mind the image of a lantern hung at the door. The lantern does not erase the dark field beyond. It only keeps the threshold bright. Step into that light. Let the shadows at the far edge remain until morning. There is no rush to confront every dark thing tonight. Start with the step within reach. I lower my voice further now. The nighttime room hushes. The lamp throws a small circle of light. Within that circle, the heart can safely name small failures. Speak them in a soft inner voice. Then imagine placing them into the palm of the forgiving hand. Feel the hand close and then relax. The tightness in the chest loosens. Forgiveness often paints a small miracle of return. A lost item found. Arm and spone straightened. A torn coat, stitched with careful thread. Repair here is not showy. It is patient. It is plain. It holds the scar and teaches the stitch how to keep the fabric whole. That is the mercy that comforts the night. Do not expect a sudden removal of all memory. Some traces stay. They are like footprints on a sandy shore. The tide can wash them soft, but a faint mark may remain for a time. The presence of forgiveness changes the meaning of the print. It no longer shouts accusation. It becomes a map of learning. Slowly now. Picture a scale. On one side, the mistakes. On the other side, a steady kindness. The scale leans. Not because the kindness ignores the mistakes, but because mercy is heavier than guilt. Mercy does not deny the wrong. It weighs it against love and finds the balance tipped toward grace. Forgiveness invites a simple practice. Each night before sleep, set one small wrong into the light, name it, and then hand it over. Give it in imagination to the bedside keeper. Watch as the keeper folds the wrong into a small paper and places it in a drawer. Close the drawer with a deliberate breath. The closing is a covenant of rest for the evening. There is also a kind of happiness that grows when the forgiven person learns to forgive themselves. This is not arrogance. It is a learned gentleness. The inner judge becomes less loud. The inner friend becomes more present. Mercy, once received, teaches how to be merciful to the self. Practice that soft kindness now, the same way one smooths a blanket before sleep. At times, the body remembers wrongdoing before the mind does. Tension sits in the shoulders. The stomach tightens. So the practice begins with the body. Relax the shoulders. Soften the jaw. Let the tongue rest in the mouth. In that small relaxation, the heart becomes available to accept mercy. The body and the soul find alignment. There may be fear that forgiveness will be misused. That concern is not naive. It is careful. Mercy does not mean ignoring harm or refusing wise boundaries. It means that, within wise care, the one who wronged can be offered a path of healing. The Psalms do not erase prudence. They pair mercy with compassion and with practical care. If anger still sparks, let it sit for a moment as a teacher rather than a destroyer. Anger can point to injustice. Forgiveness can then be chosen as a wise path that does not let anger harden into bitterness. Think of anger as a heat that can cook something useful when tended carefully. Left wild, it consumes. Tended, it brings clarity. I invite a small exercise now. Close the eyes if that comforts. Picture a doorway with a soft curtain. Pass one hand through the curtain and lay a folded paper inside. That paper holds a short phrase naming a wrong. Place it gently. Step back. Breathe. Hear the curtain rustle as it falls back into place. Leave the paper there until morning. Mercy is careful with memory. It teaches how to remember without being ruined by the past. Memory becomes a story told from a place of warmth. It does not write the final chapter as shame. Instead, it adds a line that says, "And kindness returned." The story gains a new ending. The night can hold that ending gently. There is a physical sensation that sometimes accompanies forgiveness. It is a lightness around the sternum. The throat relaxes. The back lessens its arch. The limbs feel less vigilant. If sleep does not come immediately, the body still rests in a different register. The watch changes from frantic to kind. That change is itself a small miracle. Let the hands rest on the chest. Now, feel the slow beat beneath the palm. Each pulse is a measure of presence. Each beat is a small affirmation. You are held. Repeat this silently. If it helps, held. Forgiven. Kept. The words are small anchors. They do not clamor. They steady. Forgiveness is like a steady flame that does not flare. It keeps close watch without heat that burns. It warms instead of scorching. Allow that warmth to reach the places that have grown calloused. Warmth loosens tightness. Warmth invites softness. Softness opens the way to sleep. As the breath slows, let gratitude arise for the mercy that has been given. Gratitude is not an erasing of difficulty. It is a recognition that relief has come. Say a brief thanks in the inward voice. A simple phrase. The phrase need not be long. Que betiento. I end this portion with a deliberate hush. The book folds its page. The lamp dims a little more. The images of a basin, a lantern, a fold, and a gardener remain like quiet guests. Carry them like a small lantern towards sleep. If eyelids close, let them do so with the peace of forgiveness resting at the heart. We will continue soon. For now, rest in the relief that comes when heavy things are handed over. Allow the happiness of pardon to cradle the night. The keeper remains. The watch continues. Sleep, when it comes, is welcome and safe. I close the book for a breath and let the thought settle. Comfort in God's presence is the next quiet thing to sit with. I speak it soft. The room listens like a body waiting for sleep. I am here at your bedside. The lamp is low. The pages lie open between us. I read the lines that name a presence which does not leave when the night grows long. The image is simple. A companion sits near the bed. The companion does not demand answers. The companion keeps a steady watch. Breathe slowly. Breathe in. Hold for the smallest beat. Breathe out. With each breath, imagine a nearer warmth. That warmth is not a blaze. It is a small hearth, set just out of reach. Enough to keep the hands mellow. Presence feels the same way. It is not overwhelming. It is near and quiet. I speak of presence not as an idea, but as an experience. I tell of it in small pictures. Think of a soft scarf draped over cold shoulders. The scarf does not remove the wind. It simply keeps the chill from gnawing at the bones. Presence is like that scarf. It wraps without binding. There is a practice I bring with these pages. Place one hand over the heart. Feel the pulse. Let each beat be a small metronome. Listen as it ticks a calm measure. If the mind wanders, return to that steady sound. Presence gathers itself around these small things. Pulse. Breath. Hand on chest. I read a short verse and then closed the book for a long silence. In that silence, allow one small prayer. It need not be clever. A simple phrase will do. Say inside, stay with me. Let the phrase be a cord tied around the worry, and the worry is steadied. That very act invites comfort. The presence I speak of is not distant. It comes in small acts. A cool breath on the forehead, a hand smoothing the hair, a whisper that something or someone watches without accusation. Imagine a steady candle on a windowsill. The wind may rattle the glass. The candle keeps it small bright. That steadiness is what comfort looks like in the dark. I do not aim to explain. I offer a memory to rest on. Think of an evening when someone stayed with you through a hard hour. Their staying changed the room. It changed the body. The chest unclenched. Presence works that way. It does not erase trouble. It sits in the same chair. Sometimes presence comes through sound. A low, steady voice riads. Another person breathes near you. A familiar footstep crosses the floor. In this reading, the voice is that steady sound. Let it be a companion until sleep arrives. The cadence itself becomes a small shelter. If fear rises, name it softly. Give it a single, plain word. Place the word on the pillow beside the worry. Now imagine the presence bending low to notice it. The presence does not scold. It accepts the word and keeps its gaze gentle. Shame loses its sharp edge when witnessed. Comfort follows the witnessing. There are nights when presence arrives as memory. Remember the names of people who once kept watch for you. Think of their faces for a moment. Let the kindness they showed return like a cool hand. Presence can travel by memory. Kindness already received becomes a bridge to kindness now. I invite a slow inhale now. Let the belly expand. Count quietly to 3. Exhale on a count of 4. The rhythm softens the nervous system. Presence aligns itself with the breath. The breath becomes a small path, in and out of the room of the mind. Follow that path. It leads toward gentleness. Sometimes the presence of God feels like a safe room in a vast house. The house may be full of noise. The safe room is small and soundproof enough for rest. In that room, a lamp is dim. A cup of cool water sits on the table. The safe room keeps nothing grand. It keeps what is necessary for healing sight. Warmth. A soft seat. Let the hands unclench. Let the jaw relax. Name 2 things that went well today. However small, it may be the taste of a warm drink. It may be a brief laugh. Hold those things lightly. Presence nods at them. Gratitude and comfort travel well together. They steady one another. There is a gentle paradox to presence. It both soothes and stirs. It soothes by offering rest. It stirs by calling tenderness awake. Sometimes the stir leads to quiet tears. Allow them. They wash slow places and make room for sleep. Tears are not waste. They can be the language of a heart unburdening. When loneliness sits like a heavy shawl, picture a light at the far end of a long hallway. Walk slowly toward it. The steps do not need to be large. Each small step is enough. Presence often meets in the small steps. It does not require grand motion. It notices a slow approach and opens the door a crack. I speak now of a practical habit. At night, choose one short line from a psalm to carry. Keep it as a whisper by the pillow. If the mind spins, repeat that whisper. It is like a lullaby. It does not argue. It simply keeps one note until the heart loosens. The note anchors the mind to a gentle truth. Comfort in presence can also be tactile. A soft blanket. A warm pair of socks. The body accepts these small aids. They tell the nervous system that the environment is safe enough to let down the guard. Practical comfort and spiritual presence often move together. The small things matter. Sometimes presence changes the shape of sleeplessness. Sleep may not come. Rest can still arrive. Rest is a different posture of the mind. It is a restful attention that does not strive to fix what keeps awake. Instead, it settles into the rhythm of breath and the steadiness of a watching heart. Presence keeps watch, so rest can happen even without sleep. I smile quietly as I read. The smile is small. Inside the voice. Smiling lifts the throat and loosens the tone. The sound of the voice softens. That softness itself is a kind of comfort. It says, everything need not be handled at once. The night will hold what it must. If worry presses with questions that have no answer, use a small practice. Imagine writing the questions on a sheet of paper and placing that paper in a drawer. Close the drawer now. In the imagination. Lock it gently. Presence does not ignore questions. It gives them a place to stay until morning, when clearer eyes return. There are nights when the heart remembers unfinished grief. Let the grief come inside a small room made for it. Permit a short vigil. Light a candle inside the mind. Sit with that candle and let the presence be like another person who holds the vigil with you. 2 watchers are steadier than 1. I remind you that presence is not a performance. It is not a checklist of spiritual gains. It is a resting quality. It asks for honesty and receives it without shaming. Offer one small truth to the quiet. Say it inwardly. The presence receives it and keeps it safe. That keeping is itself a comfort. Lean into the sound of the voice now. Let words fall like soft leaves. Each leaf lands without needing your immediate sorting. The slow fall makes a soft carpet. Walk on it with ease. The ground feels less sharp. The heart rests a little more. If sleep comes, accept it with gratitude. If it does not, remain in this state of attended stillness. The presence keeps its post. The lamp stays low. The watch continues. For now, that watch is a promise that you are not alone in the dark. I close the book with my thumb. Slowly. The pages whisper as they settle. The lamp breathes its small glow. I give a short, calm blessing. May the nearness you need be near. May the keeping that does not shame hold close. May your breath find a rhythm that steadies the night. We rest here a little while. The reading will continue in the next portion. For now, let the comfort of presence sit on the shoulders like a warm coat. Keep the hand over the heart a little longer. Let the pulse be the last sound you count before sleep. The night is watched. The watch is kind. I take up the book again and let the night listen closely. The page opens to the familiar path. I read with a soft hand. My voice moves slowly, like footsteps on damp earth. Each step is careful. Each breath matches the pace. Trust is the next soft thing to sit with. It feels small at first. It is a choice more than a feeling. It is a hand offered in the dark. It is a decision to follow that hand, a little at a time. Imagine a valley at night. Shadows pool in the hollows. The sky is dense with quiet. The path is not always clear. I walk that valley in the telling. The feet find stones by touch. A staff steadies each step. The staff is not a fancy tool. It is simple and true. It keeps the walk even. I speak of a presence that walks close. It does not shout. It does not frighten the darkness away with a sudden blaze. It walks beside. Step for step, the presence catches the foot that slips. It points quietly to the next stone. Fear notices this company and loosens its grip. Trust grows in the small acts. It grows by remembering a past kindness that was true. I pause here and ask you to breathe in slowly. Hold one soft beat. Breathe out. Let the rhythm be a steady drum for trust. Each breath is a small vote for faithfulness. Each vote nudges the heart toward rest. When anxiety presses, it often feels like a loud wind. It spins the mind with what-ifs. In the valley, that wind does not stop. The presence offers a cloak. The cloak does not cut the wind. It keeps the chill from sinking deep. Wrap the cloak around the shoulders in your imagination. Feel the warmth settle in the neck and across the chest. The body remembers what comfort feels like. Trust is not a sudden certainty. It is a string of small agreements. I choose to believe that the next step will be met. I choose to set down one small burden on the way. I choose to speak one short truth. I am not alone. These small choices add together like pebbles on a path. Soon the road beneath the feet feels more friendly. I describe a lamp held near the face. The lamp is steady and close. It does not banish the night. It simply shows the next stone. Look at that small light now. Let it be enough. Let it point gently toward safety. There is mercy in such small lighting. It is patient enough to follow for a long while. When fear rises, name it with the lightest voice. Say the word inside. Give it a small cup of attention. Then hand it to the presence at your side. Imagine the hand taking the cup, nodding, and setting it down by the path. The cup is not forgotten. It is kept, but it no longer tips over the steps. Trust begins where burdens shift from the clasp to the palm of another. I have watched how trust repairs itself. It often mends in the quiet of repeated goodness. Once, in a long season, help arrived in small parcels, a kind word, a steady meal, a hand on a shoulder. Each parcel was not a cure. Each parcel was a stitch. The stitches gathered and then held. That long mending is the way trust returns. Practice helps trust. So I guide small practices now. Place one hand over the heart. Feel the steady beat. Follow its rhythm for a count of 3. Breathe in on 3. Breathe out on 4. Repeat this simple pattern 3 times. This counting is a gentle tether. It brings scattered thoughts back to the body. The body becomes a harbor for the mind. Trust also grows by memory. Recall one night when help came. Do not strain for a grand story. Choose a small one. A lamp left on, a cup of tea, a single sentence spoken that steadied the shoulders. Let the memory warm the chest. Mercy often appears in the ordinary. The ordinary becomes proof, slowly, that care is real. Sometimes trust must stand beside doubt. Doubt is a reasonable guest. It asks honest questions. Trust does not silence it with certainty. It listens and then offers presence as an answer that is not defensive. Picture doubt as a thin mist. Trust is the hand that wipes the layer away so the path shows again. The mist may return, but the hand is steady. I speak now of a particular shadow that many nights bring the shadow of regret. It can feel like a long, cold sleeve wrapped around the ankle. In the valley, the presence bends and eases the sleeve loose. The act is gentle. It does not pretend the sleeve was never there. It simply removes it from the walk. Trust learns that not every reminder must be an anchor. When the mind rehearses worst-case scenes, stop the rehearsal. Place a small stone in the palm and name it hope. Put the stone in the pocket of the cloak. Each time the mind turns to a frightening image, touch the stone and remember the lamp. This is a practical trust. It is not blind. It is a simple habit that says, I will choose a different image until the fearful ones settle. I read slowly about the shepherd who knows each path. The shepherd does not promise a painless road. The shepherd promises company. That promise is a steady rhythm under fear. I let the voice rest on that rhythm. The hearing becomes a companion to the heartbeat beneath the hand. Trust can be like training a tired animal to trust a hand again. At first, it snatches and retreats. Then it sniffs. Then it leans a head forward. The body learns the kindness that comes without threat. Trust grows in that patient relearning. Patience is its ally. Softness is its method. Allow a brief silence now. In that hush, offer a single, short phrase. It need not be poetic. Keep it plain. Say inside, keep walking with me. Repeat it slowly. Let it land on the chest. Let it sit there like a small warm stone. The phrase is a covenant of the night. It is compact and true. Fear and trust sometimes share a single room. They are not enemies, so much as different voices. Invite trust to speak gently. Ask it to tell one true story from the day. A small victory will do. A moment of kindness, a small thing arranged. Let trust tell the story. The telling itself weakens fear. I guide hands now to relax on the knees or at the sides. Let the shoulders drop, soften the face. Tension in the neck can hold trouble like a sack. Loosen that sack with the breath. Each long exhale loosens a knot. Trust slips in as the knots unwind. I offer an image of a bridge made from small planks. Each plank is a gentle memory. Abit. A promise kept. Walk across the bridge plank by plank. Do not rush to the other side. Enjoy the sound the feet make on wood. The presence walks beside and sometimes ahead, testing the planks with a foot so the ones behind feel safe to step. Trust is that tested way. When sleep lingers, remember that trust and rest are not the same. Rest can be accepted even when sleep refuses to come. Rest is a posture of the soul. Lie back and allow the body to release one more layer. Trust keeps watch, so the rest can do its work without strain. There may be nights when anger rises in place of fear. Anger is not the enemy of trust. It can be its teacher. It points to what matters deeply. Listen to it softly. Ask the presence to show how to act in the morning. For now, tuck the heat into the cloak and let it be tended in daylight. Trust grows when action is wise rather than impulsive. I tell a small story now, not long. Just enough to feel true. Once someone walked a long way at night and lost the path. Panic rose. A light appeared at the hedge, and a voice called a name. The voice belonged to a neighbor who had kept watch. The neighbor offered a hand and a small torch. They walked back together. The memory of that hand becomes a pattern. When wind rises now, the memory flares a small light of confidence. Trust sometimes comes from another person keeping watch. Practice this prayer in silence. Keep walking. Keep watch. Keep near. Say it slowly. Let the words blend with the breath. Repeat them as a slow chant. Not to demand, but to align the heart to the presence that does not abandon. I lower my voice further now. The room holds its own gentle breathing. The lamp shrinks its circle of light to something less bright. The valley remains, but the path feels softer underfoot. The promise of company is enough to steady the next step. We will pause here for a little while. Carry the lamp image near the pillow. Keep one hand over the heart if that comforts. Trust is a slow companion. Let it walk beside you into the night. The next portion will come soon. For now, rest a little more in the assurance that a steady presence walks close through every shadow. I lift the book and place my hand on the page. The heading feels like a quiet bell. It calls attention to one small truth. God's timing is not my timing. I say that gently. The room bends toward the sound. Wait for the Lord. Be strong. Let the heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. I read that line like a soft hymn. Let it land on the chest. Let it sit there for a long inhale. The words are simple and true. Timing in the heart is a delicate thing. It tightens when patience is thin. It loosens when trust grows. I picture a garden where seeds wait beneath the soil. The seed does not demand the sun. It rests in the dark until the season moves. When the time is right, it rises without haste. The timing is quiet and sure. Stress usually insists on now. It presses the hands to work faster. It measures outcomes by immediate proof. Let that pressure slide away. Imagine a clock whose hands move with mercy. It keeps time, but it keeps it without scolding. The clock breathes slow. The pendulum swings like a steady heart. There is a verse that asks for patience. It does not promise an easy path. It promises steadiness in the waiting. I read it again. Slowly, each repeat is like a small step on a soft path. The voice stays low and steady. The lamp draws a little circle of light. The rest of the room stays kind and dim. Waiting can teach better than hurry. In the hush, les sons arrivent like dew. They settle on the leaves. They do not bruise. They soften. Patience reveals what rushing often hides. It shows small roots taking hold. It shows tender leaves strengthening. The mood of the night is good for such watching. When the mind wants to fix things immediately, offer it a small task instead. Breathe in a count of 3. Hold 1 beat. Breathe out in a count of 4. Repeat. The breath becomes a metronome. It times patience. Anxiety grows quieter under that steady sound. Tension fades in small layers. Trust does not demand that everything be clear. It trusts the gardener who tends the beds even when the hands are not seen. Imagine that gardener working in the dark with soft lantern light. The steps are careful. The hands know each plant. The care is patient and repeated day by day. That kind of faithfulness keeps the garden safe. There is comfort in remembering past kindness. Recall one small help that came exactly when it was needed. Do not hunt for a grand rescue. Choose a modest mercy, a phone call that steadied the heart, a meal left at the door, a hand that stayed. Let that memory be proof that timing can be wise and gentle. Sometimes waiting feels heavy because the mind imagines delay as denial. Turn that imagining around. Think of delay as preparation. Seeds need time to build roots. Waters need time to gather. Muscles need time to be taught a new way of holding. The slow hours are not empty. They are working hours. Quietly productive. If impatience sharpens, give it a name. Say it softly inside. Then place it in a small basket beside the bed. In the imagination, hand the basket to the keeper who keeps watch. The keeper accepts the basket without scorn. This small ritual does not solve everything, but it shifts the burden from clenched fingers to an open palm. There is a kind of courage that grows while waiting. It is not the loud courage of sudden deeds. It is the quiet courage of steady endurance. It shows in small acts choosing to breathe, to rest, to return to prayer. Each small act is a vote for patience. Votes add up. A life becomes steadier by these little decisions. Let images help. Picture a ship at anchor. The sea breathes slow. The sailors do not force the tide. They maintain the ropes. They check the lantern. They trust the harbor to hold. That trust is not passive. It is active care that prepares for the right moment to move. The harbor keeps the ship ready, without pressing urgency. When worry chases worst outcomes, interrupt the chase with a short prayer whispered inside. Not many words, One line will do. Stay. Lord. Stay. Say it softly and let it be enough. The whisper is not a magic spell. It is a turning of the face toward the one who keeps watch. The act of turning itself calms. I invite a practice now. Place one hand over the heart. Feel the pulse there. Follow the beat for a few moments. Each beat is a small reminder of ongoing presence. Breathe in with the pulse. Breathe out with it. The body becomes an instrument of trust. The pulse is a metronome that marks steady time. Patience often comes wrapped in a promise of help that is not immediate, but is reliable. Think of a friend who promised to come and did. The promise was kept, even if the arrival was later than hoped. That pattern is a small assurance that timing is sometimes delayed, but not denied. Pattern matters more than speed. Do not confuse waiting with doing nothing. Waiting can be a very active posture. It includes tending what is available, mending a garment, answering a letter, being kind to someone nearby. These small tendings are part of the patience. They are signs that the heart is engaged and not resigned. Fear sometimes tells a convincing story about missing the chance. Answer that fear gently. Imagine a meadow with wildflowers. They bloom, not all at once. Each flower opens when it is ready. Beauty does not always align with a calendar. The way of blessing often follows its own rhythm. Trust the seasons silently. If sleep resists while waiting, seems hard, let rest happen in other forms. Rest can be a softened attention. It can be a gentle listening. Lie back and let the body release its guard a little. Look at the lamp's dim edge. Permit the eyes to soften. Rest is allowed, even without sleep. The night receives both. Grace often meets waiting in small, unexpected ways. A note, a dream, a sudden insight in the morning. These are like rain that arrives when the soil seems dry. Keep watch for those small mercies. They are signs that timing is moving beneath the surface. Mercy is patient like the soil that holds the seed. There will be seasons when waiting is long. Those seasons do not mean absence of care. They often mean a longer crafting is happening. Think of a pot on a wheel, shaped slowly by steady hands. The turning time feels long to the clay, but the pot gains form and strength that haste would spoil. The shaping requires timing. Bring attention now to the small comforts. A warm blanket, a soft pillow, the smell of a cup of tea. These things are not trivial. They are tools of patience. They remind the body that tonight is safe enough to yield. Use them. Let the physical comfort support the spiritual waiting. If impatience returns, use a simple verse as an anchor. Repeat it slowly in the mind. Let it become a soft refrain. The verse is not a line that must be passed. It is a tether. It keeps the heart from floating off into frantic imaginings. Bringing the heart back to a short truth is a practical act of trust. There is a tenderness in God's timing that understands small needs. It does not ignore the ache. It meets it in ways that are consistent and kind. Think of that tenderness as a hand that opens slowly and then holds. The hold is patient. It does not squeeze. It waits until the person is ready to meet the gaze. When anger or impatience rises, do not fight it raw. Name it. Let it sit for a moment. Then imagine laying it down beside a small flame of mercy. The flame warms, but does not consume. Anger cools and becomes a tool that can teach rather than a fire that destroys. That transformation takes time. And time is the teacher. I read the verse once more. Slowly, wait for the Lord. Be strong, and let the heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. Let the words decay the urgency into something softer. They work like a balm. They do not demand immediate change. They invite a posture of calm. As the voice grows softer, place the palms down and let the shoulders drop. Feel the length of the spine. Let the jaw loosen. Let the breath be a long tide. The body moves into a quiete register. The mind follows, step by small step. Trust in timing is not a hurried thing. It is built by many tiny acts of faith. Each night of quiet patience adds a stitch to a larger fabric of hope. The stitches are simple a breath, a memory, a whispered prayer, a small kindness. Over time, the fabric grows warm. We rest now with the assurance that timing is not absence, but preparation. The lamp stays low. The watch continues. If sleep comes, let it come with this thought tucked near the heart. Timing is gentle, and the one who times it is faithful. If wakefulness remains, hold the verse as a soft thread and let it guide the next small breath. I close the book slowly. The page turns with no hurry. The room keeps its steady breathing. For now, wait with courage. Let the heart be brave in gentle ways. The next portion will come when it is right. The night is kept in careful time. I open the book and let the soft light touch the page. The title of this short piece is A Quiet Bell Embracing Grace. Tonight that bell rings low and steady. My voice follows its toll like a careful hand. A line in the Psalms points to the shape of God's compassion first. Then grace, slow to anger, overflowing in love and loyalty. I do not recite it as a test. I offer it as a small map. The map is simple and clear. It shows where rest can be found. Grace arrives like rain across a dry field. It does not rush in a flood. It comes in steady drops. Each drop softens hard soil. Roots drink and begin to loosen. That softening feels like mercy whispered against a tight place. Allow the image to rest on the chest. Place one hand gently over the heart now. Feel the steady beat beneath the palm. Breathe in slowly. Hold for a quiet count. Exhale. Imagine each breath as a small invitation for grace to enter. No hurry. No performance. Just the steady admission of air and the steady welcome of love. Grace is not a prize for perfection. It is not a light that shames. It is an embrace that receives the messy, the unfinished, the tired. Think of a worn coat, return to a long absent traveler. The coat is patched and slightly frayed. Someone spreads it on a chair and says, "Stay warm." The offer is gentle. The traveler does not have to explain the rips. The coat only fits and warms. There is a line about being slow to anger. Picture a watchman on a long wall. He keeps his lamp lit, but does not flare it at every shadow. He waits, watches, and assesses. His steadiness prevents panic. He notices the small things and gives them time. That patience is a form of grace. It protects rather than punishes. Grace is abundant. Imagine a harbor wide enough for many small boats. Each boat carries its own dents and patched sails. The harbor takes them all. No boat must pretend to be unbroken to enter. The water holds them. The ropes are thrown. The men and women who tend the dock do not count faults before offering help. They hold space for the weary to tie up and breathe. This kind of mercy often arrives as simple acts: a warm cup set at the bedside, a hand smoothing a forehead, a voice that names, a name, and stays. Those acts are small, but they layer. They add up like quiet stitches in a blanket. Over time, the blanket becomes a shelter. When shame whispers that mistakes disqualify, imagine grace as a cloak draped across the shoulders. The cloak covers the ache. It does not remove memory. It changes the posture of memory. The remembered wrongs become lessons without the sting of constant accusation. The cloak rests, and the body eases. Slow to anger also means patience with the slow working of healing. Healing is rarely a rush. It is a series of small recoveries. Tenderness grows in the space where someone refuses to hurry the process. Think of a potter shaping clay. The wheel turns slowly, the hands steady. The form arises without force. Grace is that steady shaping hand. Practice a small exercise with me. Close the eyes if that comforts. Name one place that feels raw tonight. Say a brief phrase inwardly. This is held. Picture placing that place into an open palm of light. The light is warm, not burning. Lay the hurt there. Où t'habite. Let the breath bring a small relief as the hand receives it. The act is not an erasure. It is a handing over that changes the weight. Faithfulness appears in these lines as a kind of memory keeper. The one who is faithful remembers what was promised and keeps returning to fulfill it. Imagine an old ledger in a quiet office. Every small kindness and every faithful act is recorded. The book does not shrink from the mistakes. It records correction and restoration. A pattern appears. Mercy returns more than blame. Notice that pattern and let it steady the mind. Grace also touches the edges of anger and hurts. It does not pretend they do not exist. Instead, it offers a safe place to name them and hold them without revenge. Picture a small table where anger is set down like a hot iron. On the table sits a basin of water and a towel. Careful hands cool the iron and wrap it. The thing that once burned now rests. It does not disappear. Its power to hurt diminishes in the presence of gentleness. There are times when a quiet promise carries more relief than an answer. Grace provides that kind of promise. It does not always explain why. It simply assures that care will continue. Imagine a path lit by small lamps. Each lamp is a simple promise. Lit for one small stretch of road, the lamps do not banish the night entirely. They make the way traversable. Walk the path step by step. Each lit lamp is a small gift of mercy. When doubt creeps near, do a simple thing. Place the palms together lightly. Let them rest a moment. Feel the warmth. Whisper to the heart in a soft inward voice, "Grace is near." Let that statement be enough. Repeat once. No argument needed. The repetition becomes a footpath, worn through the grass. The mind finds that path and can follow it when anxious thoughts rise. Grace also appears as generosity that surprises. Imagine finding a kettle filled and left at the door. There was no request for it, no accounting. The giver simply knows and cares. Sometimes grace is that quieter kindness given without demand. Simply because someone loves. These small surprises are evidence enough. Keep one in mind tonight. There is a practice that helps when rest resists. Before sleep, breathe slowly and imagine breathing into the place that needs grace. If it is a tight chest, imagine the breath warming the ribs. If it is a sore memory, imagine the breath lifting the weight from it in small amounts. Each breath transfers some small portion of the burden. The practice repeats and lightens. Compassion and faithfulness travel together like two steady hands. One reaches to soothe. The other holds on and will not let go. Picture a parent who watches a child sleep. The parent's hand rests on the small shoulder not to coerce, but to make sure the chest rises and falls. That steady holding is how grace often appears. There are gentle boundaries in mercy. Grace does not mean permission for harm. It includes prudence and wise care. It is a generosity that protects while it restores. Think of a gardener who pulls a weed carefully so the plant can breathe. The action is loving and practical. Mercy sometimes looks like a steady pruning. If a sense of unworthiness insists, place that feeling before the psalm's light. Let the words wash it with gentleness. Do not argue with the feeling. Let it be seen, and then let it be received into grace. The act of reception does not deny the reality of the past. It changes the relationship to it. I read these lines slowly, as one might pass a candle around a room. Each listener takes a small flame. Keep it near the heart for a moment. Watch the way the light softens the face. That light is the image of grace. It warms rather than burns. Now rest here with a small practice. Name 3 small mercies from the day. They do not have to be large or notable. They can be a warm drink, a brief kind word, a moment when the sun touched the hair. Say them inwardly and let the memory of them be a small net under the chest. The net helps when the mind falls into worry. Let the final images of this portion be calm and sure. Grace as a cloak. Grace as a harbor. Grace as a lamp on the path. Each image holds enough truth to ease the night. None require a long argument. They are small pictures that the mind can carry to bed. I close the book with a soft breath. The lamp dims a little. A hand slides from the page to rest on the covers. The watch continues quietly. The promise of compassion and abundant love remains. Rest in that promise. Allow grace to sit like a warm neighbor by the bedside. Sleep, when it comes, finds a gentler place tonight. We move on soon. For now, let grace be near. Let the heart accept what it cannot earn. Let the body soften into rest. The reading will return, patient and steady. For tonight, embrace the quiet mercy and lay down. The night is kept by a faithfulness that does not waver. I open the book and let the page breathe in the lamplight. I tell you the line that will sit at the center of this short piece. It is a small, steady promise. When fear comes, trust can be turned toward the one who keeps watch. I say it slowly. The sound is soft. The room listens. I speak as one who reads at a bedside. My voice is low. It does not try to fix fear with cleverness. It offers a practice for the night. Fear is a common guest. It arrives with strange timing. It sits and asks questions. Tonight, the psalm points to a simple answer. Put trust where it will not be shaken. Breathe in slowly. Hold the breath for a calm count. Breathe out. Let the shoulders fall a little more with each exhale. The breath is a small tool. Use it now. Let it steady the thoughts that hurry. Fear often speaks as if its voice carries truth. It says, what might happen in the worst way? Give that voice a name tonight. Call it what? Say the name once in the mind and let it sit like a small cloud. Then turn the face away from the cloud. Look instead toward a quiet light. I ask you to place a hand over the heart. Feel its steady beat. The pulse does not promise perfection. It promises presence. Let that presence be the rhythm by which trust is practiced. Each beat is a small reminder that life continues and that you continue within it. Faith is not a sudden cure. It grows like a muscle. It strengthens with small, repeated acts. Choose one small act tonight. It can be a whispered sentence, a remembered kindness, a single breath counted slowly. Repeat that act 3 times. Let it settle into the body like a gentle exercise or team. The small practice becomes a habit. The habit becomes a resource when fear comes without warning. I offer a quiet image. Picture a compass resting on a wooden table. The needle quivers in a breeze. It does not fix the wind. It only points when the mind feels carried by gusts of anxiety. Return to the needle. Let its direction be a small anchor. Say, inwardly, I will point toward the steady one. The phrase is plain. It is not a lecture. It is a way to reorient the heart when the night brings images that quicken the pulse. Use a tactile anchor. Keep a small, smooth stone by the pillow. Hold it for a moment. Feel its weight. The stone does not speak. It only grounds. Let the hands know the solid thing. The mind then finds the same solidity inside. The stone becomes a physical reminder. Trust is practiced by touching a present reality. Memory is a gentle teacher of faith. Recall one night when help arrived or a kindness came just in time. Do not search for a dramatic rescue. Choose something ordinary, a neighbor's knock, a call that steadied the hands, a sudden easing of worry. Let that memory warm the chest. Faith often grows by remembering that help has come before. I read a small line from the psalm, and then sit in silence long enough for it to land. The silence is part of the reading. It lets the words sink. In the quiet, let a short phrase arise in the mind when afraid. I will trust. Say it without fighting fear. Say it as a choice. Choice is the first step toward forming faith. There is a practical rhythm that helps. Use 3 slow breaths as a reset. Breathe in on a count of 3. Hold 1 beat. Breathe out on a count of 4. As you breathe out, imagine the breath carrying a small thread of trust into the body. See the thread weaving a soft net beneath the chest. The net need not be strong at first. It is a beginning. Fear can feel like a fast current. Trust is like a rope tied to a secure post. Throw the rope toward the steady one. If the rope feels thin, tie a second, and then a third. The making of knots is an act of work and of faith. Each knot is a remembered promise. Agiet prayer. A small act of surrender. With time, the rope grows thick enough to hold. I do not ask for instant peace. I offer ways to invite it. Begin with small permissions. Permit a single tear. Permit a small, honest prayer. Permit the body to relax a little. These permissions are not indulgence. They are openings. They allow the life inside to shift from tension into trust. When worry paints a long future of loss, fold the future into the present. Ask one short question. What can I do right now that is gentle? Maybe it is setting a cup on the bedside table. Maybe it is turning the pillow. Maybe it is naming one thing for which the heart is grateful. Small actions pull the mind away from frantic projection and toward a manageable present. Faith is often strengthened in community. Think briefly of someone who has kept watch for you in the past. Picture their face for a beat. Let the memory of their steadiness warm the thought, I am not alone. If no human face comes to mind, picture a steady light on a distant shore. The light does not come to rescue with fireworks. It comes to show that the harbor exists. When courage feels thin, practice a tiny declaration. Say inwardly, I will trust this night. Repeat it slowly 3 times. The phrase does not demand that fear vanish. It simply places trust beside fear. Trust and fear can stand together. Often they do. The act of choosing trust strengthens it. I speak of trust as a gentle practice that includes both hope and honesty. It does not hide fear under a forced cheerfulness. It names the fear and then makes a deliberate movement towards the one who keeps watch. This movement is simple. It is a breath. It is a remembered kindness. It is placing a small stone in the palm. Sometimes, faith is like a lamp that needs oil. The oil here is small spiritual habits, prayer, remembering mercy, gentle service, gratitude. Tonight, pick one drop. Offer it. Let the lamp glow a little brighter. It will not banish the night, but it will make the next step clearer. There are nights when the mind insists on playing every bad scene in detail. Interrupt the movie with a brief ritual. Close your eyes if that comforts. Imagine a shutter falling across the images. Open a different small view. A field with steady grass in a mild wind or a small window with a candle. Let the new scene replace the vicious reel for a time. Repeat as needed. Rituals do not solve everything. but they teach the mind new pathways. I remind you that trust can be tender. It is not always bold. A soft trust that says, I will take one breath at a time, is real faith. It grows by repetition. It does not need instantaneous proof. Small, repeated choices accumulate into a sturdier hope. If rest resists, allow rest in other forms. Close the eyes and relax the jaw. Unclench the hands. Let the muscles around the neck loosen. Physical rest creates space for trust. The body's relaxation invites the heart to follow. There will be times when faith seems weak. That is ordinary. Do not let the apparent failing become a further reason for fear. Instead, recall the small ledger of mercies. Think back to a dozen quiet moments when help came, or when a truth proved steady. The ledger need not be complete. Even a few entries are enough to begin rebuilding trust. I speak now of a brief exercise to do before sleep. Write down 3 small things that went well today. They do not have to be impressive. A cup that tasted warm, a bird that purred outside the window, a brief laugh. Keep the list short. Read it slowly. Let it fold into your memory. Let it become proof that goodness persists. When fear wakes in the night, use a short prayer as an anchor. Not many words, a single line that has meaning for you. Say it quietly once. Let it settle like a pebble in a bowl. The sound of the prayer is a marker. It returns the mind to an intention of trust. Faith is like a garden tended over seasons. Some seasons are thin, some are full. Do not judge the thin seasons as failure. They are part of the tending. Plant small seeds tonight, a breath, a memory, a soft prayer. Water them with repeated acts tomorrow. Over time, the garden changes. I close this passage with a soft assurance. Fear may come. It will not have the final word. The Psalm's small promise holds when afraid. Turn trust toward the one who keeps watch. The turning is a simple act. It is chosen breath by breath. Rest now with that small practice in mind. Keep the stone by the bed if it helps. Let the lamp be a mild comfort. Let the breath be your metronome. Trust is a slow building. The night is a good place to begin. I lower my voice and pause long enough for the words to settle. The book closes its page with a soft hush. The lamp reduces its glow. Sleep, when it comes, does so under a patient sky. The next reading waits. For now, let trust be a quiet companion through the dark. I lift the Bible and let its weight remind me of the night. The lamp makes the pages soft and warm. I turn to a psalm that carries a gentle command, be still. Know that I am God. I do not read it like an exam. I read it like a lullaby. The words settle into the room like a slow breath. I let them rest on the air for a moment, before anything else moves. Silence is not empty here. It is a doorway. In the doorway, the heart can step through. Be still begins with posture. Sit back or lie down without stiffness. Let the spine lengthen, but not rigidly. Allow the shoulders to fall away from the ears. The body finds a shape that does not brace. Bracing keeps the world at a distance. Let the muscles soften so the world can come nearer in a different way. I ask the listener to do a small practice. Close the eyes, if that feels right. Place a hand where the breath is easiest to feel. Notice the rise and the fall. Do not try to change anything. Just watch. Watching is a kind of stillness. It is a gentle attention that does not shove the mind around. In the quiet, imagine a lake at dawn. The surface is almost flat. When a stone falls, tiny rings move outward and then fade. The stone is memory. Worry. The day's sharp edge. The water receives it. The rings appear and then smooth. Be still like the lake. Allow the ripples to go where they must, and then settle. Recognize God's presence as something near rather than far. Presence is not a dramatic arrival. It is closer to a hand that rests without pressing. Picture that hand placed at the small of the back as someone helps a traveler steady a step. The touch steadies but does not demand explanation. That is the kind of awareness the psalm invites. I read the line again. Softly. Be still. Know that I am God. The words are a pair, a posture, and a recognition. First attend to the body, then let the mind make room to know. Knowing here is not an argument. It is an opening of the heart to a steady fact. Someone keeps watch. Stillness is not an erasure of pain. It is not a claim that troubles are not real. It is an offering of space where pain can be present without being the whole story. If ache is present, do not push it away. Name it inwardly. Let the naming be simple. Then breathe toward it as if breathing around a small flame. The flame does not vanish. It becomes warmer in the gentleness. The psalm's invitation includes a quiet lesson about power. Knowing God means remembering that not everything depends on immediate control. There is a deep steadiness under changing events. The steady ground does not remove storms. It simply holds through them. Picture roots beneath a tree. The wind moves the branches. The roots do not aim to stop the wind. They anchor the tree so it does not scatter. I guide a short body scan now. Start at the crown of the head. Notice tension there. Let it ease a little. Move down to the jaw. Unclench. Let the tongue rest. Drop the shoulders. Soften the belly. Let the hips sink. Finish with the feet. And imagine them resting into the mattress as if into the earth itself. Each small release is a step towards stillness. As the body slows, turn the attention gently inward. Ask one small question. What is the nearest thing I carry? Not every worry at once. Just the nearest. Name it in one short phrase. Then place that phrase on the palm of the hand in the imagination. Picture setting it on a low table. Now see a light above the table. That light is the recognition the psalm offers. The light does not shame. It illumines without heat. I read a short sentence about God's presence, and let the space between lines hold it. In that space, a small prayer can arise. The prayer need not be elegant. A single word is enough. Stay. Stay is both request and recognition. It admits need and trusts that the one addressed does not turn away in the night. Stillness also includes trust that speech is not always required. In the dark, words can tire the throat. Silence can be a language of its own. Let silence speak tonight. Let it say, I am near. Let the silence be like a blanket folded over the lap. It does not hide what is underneath. It comforts it with steadiness. I bring a simple image for the mind to hold. Picture a cottage with a single candle in the window. The window faces the path where travelers pass. The candle does not chase the dark. It is a small, steady witness. Someone in the room keeps watch. That someone knows the names of travelers and watches for their return. Rest in the idea that a steady light keeps vigil, even when the rest of the house sleeps. If intrusive thoughts come, do not wrestle them. Imagine them as birds flying past a window. They come unbidden. They do not need to be invited in. Notice them and let them continue their flight. Return attention to the breath, or to the single line from the psalm, or to the candle that burns on the windowsill. Repetition of a small image trains the mind like a gentle rope guiding a boat. The psalm speaks also of a letting go of hurry. Hurry is a habit. It convinces the hands to pull and the chest to clench. Stillness is the practice of declining hurry for a while. It is a permission slip to the nervous system. You do not have to solve everything now. Rest is also a faithful act. By resting, the body repairs. By resting, the mind regathers. Allow that work to happen tonight. I read another quiet line, and let it be like a bell rung once and allowed to fade. The fading is part of the work. It tells the ear that something can end and not immediately be replaced by noise. This is a small lesson for the soul endings, can be gentle, and what follows can be a steady presence. I invite a short breath practice now. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 1. Breathe out for 6. Make the out-breath longer than the in-breath. That lengthening signals the nervous system to soften. Repeat this cycle 3 times. With each round, imagine the pulse slowing a little, like a pendulum finding a slower rhythm. In the stillness, allow gratitude to be quiet. Do not force a list. Let a single, small, good thing from the day come into view. Maybe it was a warm cup, a brief laugh, a hand held by a friend. Hold that small thing like a pebble. Feel its smoothness. Let it be a small anchor for the heart. The psalm's invitation also nudges toward humility in a restful way. Knowing God means acknowledging limitation in a gentle manner. Limitation here is not failure. It is reality. The body cannot run at full speed forever. The mind cannot worry brilliantly all night. To accept limits is to accept a created order, where rest is part of good keeping. I speak of Christ as the keeper in plain, calm words. His keeping is not theatrical. It is steady and patient. Imagine a shepherd who sits by the edge of a field and watches quietly. When a sheep stirs, the shepherd is there. The shepherd does not need to make a big show. Presence itself is protection. Let that image enter the stillness. If sleep comes while I read, let it arrive. The words are like a small boat that carries the ear gently across the water. If wakefulness remains, stay in this posture a while longer. The stillness is not timed by the clock. It responds to what the body and the heart can receive. I close the Bible softly after a slow final line. The pages whisper. The lamp makes the room tender. Before I move away, I leave a short invitation. Be still. Know that you are held. Place one hand over the heart. If that comfort helps, feel the pulse and remember the steady one who keeps watch. We will continue soon. For now, sit in the quiet a little longer. Let the stillness gather all the small scattered pieces of the day. Let the steady presence be the net beneath them. Rest is not a failure of faith. It is faith carried into the body. Allow it this night. The book closes with no hurry. The lamp dims a degree. The watch continues. Be still. And know that knowledge is a gentle shelter for the night. I lift the Bible and hold it close for a moment. The cover is warm from my hands. The lamplight softens the edges of the pages. Tonight, I come to a short, simple truth. Cast your burdens where a steady hand can hold them. I say that in small phrases. The voice slows. The room listens. A certain night stays with me. It is not dramatic. It is ordinary and quietly heavy. The body felt tired but restless. Thoughts spun like small insects around the lamp. Every worry seemed urgent. The breath came shallow. The shoulders tightened in a way that lived there for hours. That night taught me something I still use. I take a scrap of paper and a pen. The paper is humble. The pen scratches soft. I write one worry. Not every worry. Just the nearest one. A short sentence on the page. The act is plain. It is not a confession to a judge. It is naming what presses. Naming makes a thing hold its shape and keeps it from gnawing at the mind. Then I fold the paper once, twice. Folding changes the gesture. It feels like tucking a letter into an envelope. I place it on the bedside table in the lamplight. I breathe in slowly. The fingers rest on the small parcel. I do not force feelings to vanish. I offer them. I place the folded note into an imagined hand that is larger and steadier than mine. The psalm that has carried this method for many people says simply to cast the burden. Cast, in that sense, is not a flinging out in wild panic. It is a deliberate handing over. Picture giving a tired satchel into the palms of someone who will not drop it. The movement is careful. The giver is known. The receiver is sure. On that night, I did something small and tactile. I kept a smooth pebble near the lamp. I held it in the palm and let its weight remind me of the worry. Then, with the folded paper in the other hand, I took a breath that filled the ribs. On the out-breath, I traced an image in my mind of placing the pebble and the note into that steady hand. The act was almost theatrical. It was not meant to be showy. It gave the mind one small ritual to do instead of 1,000 frantic mental rehearsals. The first time I did that, sleep did not fall immediately. Relief did not feel like a disappearing of the problem. Rather, it arrived as a small loosening. A little space opened between the worry and the heart. The shoulders lost 1 millimeter of tension. The breath lengthened by a fraction. I lay back and let the hush of the room hold me. The anxiety was still there in a smaller place. Less fierce. In the morning, the same worry seemed less able to shout. That is the gentle truth I share. Casting is an act you can repeat. It is not a single cure. It is a habit. Habits shape the nervous system slowly. One quiet ritual repeated becomes a pattern the body recognizes. The pattern tells the system that worries can be handed over and kept. The heart learns a new muscle, how to let go. You may prefer another small practice. Some set the paper under the pillow. Others place it in a drawer as though filing away a worry until morning. A small bowl by the bedside works for some. Put the pebble in the bowl, fold the paper, and slide it beneath. The bowl becomes a gentle repository. The design is not magical. It is tangible. The hands do something that the mind can trust. If words help, say one short sentence inwardly as you place the note down. Keep it simple. Let the sentence be a bridge. It can be 2 words. It can be a soft line repeated 3 times. Do not make speech into performance. Use the words as a tool, not as proof. The real work is the handing over. Breath guides the body through this practice. Breathe in through the nose for 3 slow counts. Hold for 1. Breathe out for 5 counts. On the out-breath, imagine the worry loosening its grip on the chest. Repeat this cycle 3 times. With each out-breath, feel the shoulders sink a little further. The breath is not a cure in itself. It is a metronome for the act of casting. It gives the body time to trust the gesture. Some burdens must be carried in parts. They are too large for one folded paper. That is all right. Break the weight into smaller notes. Give one piece tonight and another tomorrow. The Psalms do not demand a heroic surrender all at once. They show a rhythm of repeated dependence. Dependence, practiced slowly, becomes an honest strength rather than a brittle hope. There is a tenderness in allowing a burden to be taken. The scene I keep is simple, a pair of hands that do not recoil. They accept the paper and the pebble without counting faults. The hands hold until the giver breathes easier. Picture that hold as a steady table that does not wobble under the weight. That steadiness is what the psalm promises. It does not solve every problem at once. It sustains the person who keeps walking. Sometimes the mind argues that handing over will mean losing control. The mind is right to care. Wisdom keeps guard against careless giving. Casting is not avoidance. It is a choice to stop carrying alone, while still tending what must be tended. If action is needed in the morning, plan a small step. Casting at night is not abdication. It is a rest before the work. When anxious thoughts multiply in the dark, use a small counter-ritual. Name one small good thing from the day. Put it on a separate slip of paper. Place it beside the worry. Let the 2 papers sit together. The scale shifts gently when the mind keeps both the trouble and the mercy in view. The 2 slips remind the heart that alarms are not the whole story. If guilt or shame or a particular sorrow seems to be the main weight, you may choose to tell that thing without a long story. Say one sentence into the quiet, fold it into the paper, lay the note down. The act of speaking the truth into the room prevents the mind from torturing it into a long series of what-ifs. The bed cannot hold the entire narrative. It can hold one small, honest line. Here is a quiet image to use when hands are empty. Imagine a soft, steady light near you. See the light receiving what you cannot keep. Watch the image long enough that the mind believes for a small measure of time. That belief, even if fragile, loosens muscle. It opens a door in the nervous system for rest. You do not need to sustain the belief forever. Tonight it is enough. Sometimes the practice becomes physical. Keep a small object near the bed. A pebble works. A coin works. A tiny cloth tucked in the pillow works. At the moment of casting, lay the object down. Touch it once. The sensation anchors the ritual. The hands know the movement. The body learns the pattern. In time, the object itself becomes a quiet cue for release. After the handing over, stay a little while with the quiet. Do not rush to check the paper or the bowl. Let the room hold the gesture. Let the breath slow. Let the pulse become a soft metronome against the palm. In that paused place, a thin peace can arrive. It does not solve everything. It makes tonight different. I remind myself of something important. Giving a burden over does not mean forgetting responsibility. It means easing the night so the mind can repair. The morning returns with clearer eyes. The work that follows can be done with less frantic energy and more steady care. The Psalms' counsel is practical mercy. It protects the night's repair while life continues at dawn. If sleep comes after the ritual, accept it with thanks. Sleep will take what is ready to go. If wakefulness lingers, lie with the soft practice a little longer. Repeat the breathing. Touch the pebble. Keep the hand over the chest and feel the pulse. The watch continues. It is gentle. Before I close the page, place one small burden in your mind. Take one slow breath. Imagine the burden resting for a moment on your hand. Then picture it sliding into a steadier palm. Feel the shoulders ease. Let the heartbeat rest into a softer rhythm. Keep that image tucked near the pillow. We will move on in the next reading. For now, remain with this small practice. Cast what you can for tonight. Let the lamp be a silent witness. Let mercy hold what you hand over. The watch does not end with your breath. It continues with a faithful keeping. Rest in that keeping, and allow sleep to come when it is ready. I lift the Bible and feel the quiet weight of the cover in my hands. The lamp throws a soft circle of light. I speak in a low voice and let the room gather close. Tonight, I bring a simple picture to rest upon God as a fortress. The thought is plain and strong. Imagine a large stone keep rising out of an open field. The walls are thick and old. Moonlight makes them silver. Wind does not find purchase there. I ask you to breathe with me. Inhale slowly for 4 counts. Hold for 1. Exhale for 6. Let the breath be the measure by which the image arrives. With each out-breath, imagine stepping nearer to the fortress gate. The gate is heavy and well made. It moves on good hinges that do not creak. When it closes, sound falls behind it. The night outside still happens, but it cannot rush into the room beyond the gate. The space inside is quieter. The body knows that hush. Inside the walls, there is a narrow corridor, lined with torchlight. The torchlight does not blind. It is a kindly glow that maps the stones. My feet know the way by memory. The corridor leads into a small inner room. The room fits a single bed and a low table. A thick rug softens each footstep. The air there feels steadier. Place a hand over your chest. Now, if that comforts, Feel the steady beat under the palm. The hand is an anchor. Imagine that heart resting against the fortress's inner wall. The wall is solid. It keeps the bones of the world from colliding with whatever tender thing lives inside you. The fortress protects in ways that feel practical. High ramparts stop arrows. Battlements give shelter from sudden storms. A moat can slow a quick threat. All these defenses are not meant to make life sterile or false. They simply make a safe room in which the person inside can breathe and plan and recover strength. I do not promise that the road outside will be free of wind. The psalm pictures storms and battle in its language. The fortress does not deny those things. It offers shelter from them. You may be tired from a long day. The fortress accepts that tiredness and does not shame it. It bends a small light over the place that hurts. Imagine a watchman on the tower. He sits with a lantern and keeps his eyes open through the night. He is not startled by every passing sound. He knows the names of the neighbors and the ways their footsteps go. The watchman is patient. He does not leave his post. In the same way, protection here is constant. Someone watches so you can rest. If fear presses, picture leaning your back against the cold stone. The stone takes some of the heat of your worry. The tension in your shoulders loosens a little as the muscles remember support beneath them. Let the shoulders drop. Let the jaw soften. Trust arrives slowly as the body finds a new posture that does not brace against everything. There is a small hearth in the inner room. It gives a modest warmth. It is not a roaring fire. The modest heat is enough to keep hands from numbing and to make the tea taste better. Mercy is often like that, small, steady, enough. Allow the thought to warm the chest as you breathe in and out. Some find comfort in picturing a locked chest in the inner room. Into that chest, they place a single worry. Fold it as one folds a letter. Careful and precise. Slide it into the chest and close the lid. The lock is not a denial. It is a promise that the thing you hand over is kept, not discarded. The chest keeps it safe until morning, when new light and new strength can be brought to it. I speak of Christ here plainly. Christ is the keeper of the gate. He stands where the wall is strongest. His hands hold the hinges steady. He does not mock the gatekeeper's vigilance. He fulfills it. This is not a theological argument. It is a comforting fact. Said simply, you are kept inside a safe place that will not be abandoned. Sound matters in the fortress. Outside, there may be clatter of wheels or distant weather. Inside, sound becomes a distant pattern rather than a startle. The ears relax because the walls muffle the rush. When noises from the day still ring in the head, imagine them bending around the stone and passing on by. They leave without dragging you after them. If the mind runs to lists and plans and what-if shadows, bring it softly back to the room. Name one task that truly needs attention in the morning. Let the others remain outside the gate. This is not avoidance. It is wise triage. The night is a time for a narrower focus, so the body can heal a little. I invite another small practice now. Close the eyes if that helps. Picture the fortress door and place a single small pebble on the threshold. That pebble is a short phrase, naming one fear. Keep it simple. Place it there, and then see the keeper. Step forward and carry the pebble into a tiny sack. The sack is not a dismissal. It is a respectful keeping. Watch the keeper return to his lamp and sit. Notice how the movement of giving changes the way the chest sits. Breath again. Slowly, inhale for 4. Hold 1. Exhale for 6. Each outbreath carries a small image of stone and torchlight deeper into the fortress, until the threshold feels empty of the heavy things you carried before. Protection in these lines is relational. It looks like someone who remembers your name. It looks like someone who has seen you through other nights. The memory of past preservation softens the edges of present anxiety. Think of one small time when help came in. Let that memory be a quiet proof that keeping is not a one-time show. It is steady. Walls can be climbed, but not easily. The Psalm's fortress is not a brittle shield that shatters under clever blows. It is a long-made structure, built from many safe acts of kindness, mercy, faithfulness. That solidity invites sleep because the nervous system hears a pattern solidity, repetition, reliability. If worry insists on staying, allow a single small candle to be lit on the table. The candle does not chase every shadow. It simply sits and burns. Watch its flame for a slow count, until the eyes grow heavy. Watching a small light calms the mind, because the brain does not have to invent anything new. It only observes. I do not ask for great faith. I ask for small trust. One gentle choice to let go tonight. One breath that lengthens more than it contracts. One image of stone and watchman that you visit when the mind grows loud. These small things teach the body that rest is permitted. When sleep comes, let it enter as if through an inner gate. There is no rush to force it. It will find you in the fortress when the muscles accept stillness. If sleep does not come, stay in the inner room a while. Read the lamplight and keep the hand over the heart. Presence is steady whether the eyes close or not. I lower my voice now and close the Bible with a soft motion. The pages murmur. The lamp dims a little. Before I rise, I leave an assurance at the bedside. You are within walls that will not fail. A hand keeps the gate. Mercy tends the hearth. Keep your breathing slow. Let the fortress hold what is heavy for a night. We will continue soon. For now, rest inside the strong place. Let the stone keep the pounding. Let the watchman tend the lantern. Sleep, when it comes, will be cradled safely. The watch continues. The fortress remains. I open the Bible and let the pages breathe in the hush. The chapter I come to tonight gives room for a single bright thought. It asks a quiet question and answers it with a simple pledge. The answer settles into the chest like warm bread. I speak slowly. My voice is near and calm. The words are not a lecture. They are a small celebration meant for the bedside. Hope is the theme tonight. Not the loud kind of hope that demands proof, the soft kind that lives like a steady pulse. Breathe with me. Inhale gently. Hold the breath for a slow beat. Exhale like a small tide. Let the rhythm slow, the hurry in the limbs. Each breath is a tiny vote for trust. The psalm I read points to waiting. It asks where waiting ends. The answer is not a timetable. It is a resting place. The heart is invited to place its expectations somewhere safe. Imagine, for a moment, a small basket. Into that basket go the thin wishes and the deep longings. Some are immediate, some are braided with years. Lay them in without weighing them down with hard words. I show a new image now. Think of seeds in a palm. The seeds are small and quiet. They are not promises that will be immediate trees. They are beginnings. To expect is like planting a seed. The act is hopeful, patient, humble. You do not force the shoot. You water and wait. You trust the soil and the season. The waiting is part of the work. Place one small expectation into your mind. Keep it brief. It can be as small as a cup of peace tomorrow morning. It can be as broad as a steady kindness that shows up in time. Do not turn the expectation into a long list of commands. Keep it simple. Give it a single line. Hold it like a seed for a breath. When the seed rests in the palm, breathe over it kindly. Imagine the warmth of steady care moving down to it. Hope is not a frantic shove toward getting what is wanted. It is the patient tending of a small life that may become visible later. The patience itself is a practice of faith. I remind myself gently that expectations are not demands. They are invitations placed before a steady heart. The invitation might be answered in a way different from the first imagination. The good of the answer does not always look the same as the hoped-for picture. That difference can be a mercy. Keep the heart open to surprising ways that the request is met. Celebrate hope with small motions. Press the palm once. Softly over the chest. Feel the pulse beneath the touch. Let that pulse be a reminder that life continues. Each beat is a promise that tonight's wishes are carried within an ongoing story. The breath that moves the chest is the same breath that will carry the waiting in the morning. Another image, now, a baker folding dough. The baker presses, rests, folds, and waits. The dough gains strength with each small, patient turn. The oven will come in its time. Hope here is the quiet work of preparation. It does not rush the heat. It gives room for growth. Imagine the hands that tend the dough. They do not panic when the rise is slow. They keep the steady practice until the bread is ready to warm the table. If worry bites like a small, sharp thing, do not try to push it away violently. Acknowledge it with a word or two. Then return to the seed or the dough. Name one small hope aloud inside a restful morning. A kindly word. A small resolution. Keep the sentence plain. Repeat it twice. The repetition is gentle practice. It is not an attempt to control the world. It is a training of the heart to lean toward trust. Trust grows when small proofs are remembered. Bring to mind 3 small mercies from recent days. They do not have to be grand. A warm drink, a short phone call, a moment of clear air. Let each memory sit for a beat. Watch how the chest softens when a pattern of care is seen. However modest, this memory becomes a ledger of help. It is a quiet record that says, mercy has come before. I read a short line and paused long enough for it to sink. In that pause, a soft gratitude can come. Gratitude is not a showy thing. It is a gentle lowering of the shoulders. Saying thank you inside for a single mercy invites the heart to hope again. Hope and gratitude walk well together. One keeps the future light, the other warms the present. There is a way to mark expectations that feels tactile and kind. Take one small cloth from the bedside, fold it 3 times, lay one soft seed on it. Wrap the cloth around the seed as if tucking a child in. Place the wrapped seed on the windowsill or on the bedside table. In the morning, check on it. The ritual is small. It shows the mind that waiting can be gentle and visible. The check is not about forcing an answer. It is a practice of witnessing the world as it turns. Hope sometimes feels like a quiet bell. The bell does not clamor. It calls and then allows silence. If the heart feels heavy tonight, let the bell sound in the chest as a single thought: my expectations rest securely in God. Say the thought slowly in your mind 3 times. Allow it to land and then fade, like the bell's last ring. The fading is part of the comfort. It shows that hope can be present without blaring. Celebrate hope, not with loud joy, but with small acts of trust. Write down one short expectation on a small slip of paper. Keep the script small and neat. Fold the paper once and place it beneath a glass or a stone. The physical act helps the mind believe what it chooses to carry. The note is not a contract with the world. It is a signpost of the heart's direction. Expectations that belong to God need not be held in clenched fingers. Release them with a little ceremony. Breathe in deeply. On the out-breath, picture the thickness of worry slipping like rope from the hands. Imagine another hand, patient and capable, receiving the rope. Feel the muscles loosen as the burden leaves the fingers. This handing over is humble and practical. It is a nightly exercise of trust. When hope is small and fragile, give it company. Recollect a hymn, a phrase, a line from Scripture that has comforted before. Let it be a quiet chorus under the thoughts. The chorus is not an argument. It is a companion. Hum it gently if the voice wants to make sound. The hum steadies the nervous system. It turns the inner ear toward peace. I speak plainly about the source of hope. The psalm points to a guardian who keeps watch and who hears the small petitions of the night. That guardian's attention is steady. The certainty is not in the speed of answer, but in the faithfulness that does not abandon the one who waits. Place that truth next to the seed and the dough. Let it be the soil and the warmth. Do a small kindness for the self before closing the eyes. Smooth the sheet where the shoulder meets it. Straighten the blanket. Set a cup with a lid within reach. Small order in the room helps to settle the mind. A tidy space is a quiet friend. Order is not control. It is permission for rest. If sleep comes quickly, let it take the seeds and the notes into a dream. If wakefulness lingers, revisit the rites, the folded cloth, the small bell, the soft hum. Repeat the short phrase about where hopes rest. The repetition is not rote. It is a steadying practice that retrains a restless mind. I close the passage with a short, deliberate blessing. May the expectations you hold be placed gently in safe hands. May small hope become a steady habit. May the waiting tonight be kind. May the hope you celebrate be a quiet companion by the bedside. Rest with those words like a warm shawl. The book closes slowly. The lamp holds its small pool of light. The breath slows further. A few soft beats of heart keep time. Tomorrow the day will bring its work. For now, let hope be the small song under the eyelids. The watch continues. The night keeps its promise to be quiet and holy. Soothe. The gift of peace. Psalm 2:9-1:1. I lift the book and feel the familiar cool of the page. The lamp makes the letters gentle. I do not hurry. I breathe and let the room listen. Tonight the psalm offers a simple blessing. It pictures peace as something given, not earned by the night, not demanded by the mind. Peace arrives as a quiet gift. Settle the body a little more. Let the spine rest against the mattress. Let the shoulders fall like curtains closing. Soften the jaw. Place a hand over the heart. Feel it slow. Steady beat. That beat is a small metronome for the promise. It keeps time without asking for anything from you. Imagine a wide plain at dusk. The last light gathers on low grasses. The wind is mild, not a wind that presses and flattens, but a wind that breathes on a sleeping field. That ease is what the psalm names as blessing. It is not a dramatic rescue. It is the hush that comes when someone stays near. I read the idea aloud, and then pause. In that pause, let the words sink like small stones. Each settling stone is a part of the night becoming kinder. If a thought rises, notice it and let it pass like a cloud over the plain. Return attention to the hand on the chest and the slow claim of the breath. Peace here is described as a thing that can be received. It is not forced. It does not require an explanation. Picture a bowl set before you. Into it, the day pours out its small weights. One by one, they rest on the bottom. The bowl is not heavy. It is made to hold and not to break. That is what blessing feels, like safe containment rather than hurried fixing. There is a tenderness to this blessing. It is like a blanket placed across knees that ache. The blanket is warm, not suffocating. It covers and lets the air come through. Let the image rest on the shoulders. Let the muscles around the neck uncoil. Allow the breathing to lengthen slowly. Each exhale releases a little more tension. On some nights, the mind argues that peace will only come if the story changes. The psalm speaks differently. It says that blessing may come even while things remain. A small lamp remains lit in the room while the weather rages beyond the window. That lamp is enough to read by and enough to guide the footstep. Let the lamp be this voice. Now, it does not chase storms away. It simply keeps a steady glow. Practice a short breathing pattern with me. Inhale gently for 3 counts. Hold 1. Exhale for 5 counts. Let the out-breath be longer. With each cycle, imagine the bowl receiving one more little thing from the day. It could be a name that worries, an unanswered question, a tired regret. Give it to the bowl and watch the surface ripple, and then smooth. Peace is not a removal of feeling. It is the change of how feelings are held. Where worry once tightened like rope, the blessing loosens that rope into a cord that can be unwrapped and put aside. That change is slow. It is gentle. Resist the urge to demand immediate calm. Let the blessing work like a slow tide that softens the sand. I speak of Christ in plain terms. He is pictured in the Psalms as keeper and comforter. Think of that care like hands that do not scold. They simply rest near the place that is sore. The hands do not fix everything in a hurry. They just steady. Allow that steadying to be enough for tonight. If shame or guilt returns while the room is quiet, do not hide it. Name it softly and place it into the bowl with the other things. The psalm does not dismiss the broken pieces. It gathers them. Mercy and peace move together in this gathering. The two together make a softer story of the night. There may be a small song in the memory of a kind voice. Let that memory be another lamp on the table. Keep it in the mind for a moment. The sound is not a command. It is company. Company changes the shape of fear and makes room for rest. I pause long enough for silence to thicken. In that quiet, offer one small prayer if it arises. A single word will do. Stay is enough. Be is enough. The prayer is not a demand. It is a tiny reaching. The psalm answers by blessing. The act of reaching is itself received. Sometimes rest does not lead immediately to sleep. It can be a softer attention. Lean into that attention. Watch the slow tide of breath. The pulse under the hand keeps time like a kind heartbeat in the dark. Allow peace to be the background noise of the night. Let it travel slowly through the limbs. Keep the hand at the heart for a few breaths more. Feel the slow pulse as proof that life moves on in measured steps. Each beat is a promise blessing remains. It does not always look like a solved problem. It often looks like a steady companion who does not leave. I close the page gently after a few measured lines. The lamp gives a softer glow. The images of bowl and blanket and lamp linger like small gifts. Carry them near the pillow. If sleep comes, let it take this blessing with it. If wakefulness lingers, let the peace be a soft guard around the hours until morning. Shawul, strengthening our quiet power. I open the book again and turn toward a line that follows the blessing. Strength is next, not the loud power that pushes and shouts. A quiet power that steadies the bones and steadies the heart. Settle deeper into the mattress. Let the feet find a comfortable position. Place the palms on the thighs or at the sides. Let the spine lengthen without strain. The body receives strength when it is not clenched. Calm muscles accept help more readily than tight ones. Imagine a slow sunrise that arrives without rush. The light does not burst up all at once. It arrives as a soft increase. Strength grows in a similar way. It comes from small, dependable things, a steady breath, a kind word given earlier in the day, a pledge kept early last week. The accumulation of small faithfulnesses forms a quiet backbone. Breathe in for 3. Hold 1. Exhale for 4. As the breath moves, picture strength like a warm current flowing from the center of the chest toward the limbs. It does not force motion. It simply fills the places that feel hollow and tired. Notice a gentle tightening that is not harsh. It is a readiness rather than a strain. Strength in the Psalms is often paired with courage. Courage does not always roar. It sometimes looks like standing up again after a small setback. It looks like choosing to keep walking along the path when the night is long. if the mind rehearses worst outcomes. Let courage be the small decision to take one next breath and then another. I speak now of a quiet exercise for the night. Think of one small thing to do tomorrow that does not demand perfection. It could be making a cup of tea at a gentle hour, or answering one short message. Place that small act in the mind as a plank across which the morning will step. The plank is not a heavy duty. It is a steady thing that returns strength by simple use. When worry tightens the belly, lay a hand there and breathe slowly. The warmth of the hand is a simple remedy. The act is not magical. It is simply human. Hands soothe the body. Soothing muscles teach the rest of the system to soften. Strength follows a softened body more readily than one that braces. Think of a tree that grows slowly. Ring by ring, each ring is a season, a small lesson, a moment of care. The tree does not bargain for a quicker rise. It trusts the slow work of growth. Strength works the same way. Small, patient choices over time build a durability that is not brittle, but flexible. There is also a quiet honesty in the Psalms about where strength originates. It often comes from being known and carried. Imagery of a hand at the back of the neck, a shoulder steadying a step, appears like a companion in the dark. Allow that image to rest as a practical help. The companion does not do everything. It stands near and invites the heart to try again. If fear or fatigue feels like a heavy stone, do a little ritual with it. Hold a pebble or a small object in the hand. Breathe into it the shape of the worry. On the out-breath, imagine the pebble warming as the worry is gathered into it. Place the pebble down beside the bed. The act is a small handing over that creates motion in the chest. Motion invites strength. Strength supports compassion. When the heart learns to be gentle with itself, strength becomes a servant rather than a bully. A strong person who is kind can hold both the brokenness and the plan for mending. Let that kind strength be the aim tonight. It is practical and forgiving. I offer a brief verse in paraphrase, and then let it sit. The psalm says strength is given. It pairs strength with blessing. Read that pairing slowly, and take it as a promise that steadiness can be expected as well as peace. The gift is both calm and the power to carry on. If sleep comes while the breathing deepens and the hand rests on the chest, accept it with gratitude. Let strength be something that works under the surface while the body repairs. If wakefulness stays, lie in the posture of small courage. Keep the palms loose and the jaw soft. Let the mind repeat one terse thought steady. Small. True. I close this portion with a slow breath and a soft assurance. Strength is not a demand to be perfect. It is a steadying hand for what the morning will ask. Rest now with the sense that the gift of peace is paired with a quiet power. The watch continues. The night holds both calm and the readiness to rise again. We will continue when the lamp calls us back. Patient and kind, I lift the Bible again and let the page open under the lamp. The line I carry tonight is gentle and true, even when the body grows faint. The heart can find its strength in a faithful hand. I do not preach. I speak like a friend by the bedside. Breathe with me. Inhale slow. Hold one soft beat. Exhale. Let the shoulders descend. Let the jaw unclench. The breath is a small return to the present. It tells the body that a moment of care is here. The body grows tired. That is a plain fact. Muscles slacken. Eyes blur. Tasks that seemed easy at dawn feel heavy. Now, this honesty matters. The Psalms name such truth without shame. They do not pretend the body is immune to wear. They only promise that another kind of strength remains. Place a hand over the heart. If that comforts, feel the pulse beneath the palm. It is a quiet metronome. Each beat is patient. Each beat is steady. In that steadying, I name a small hope. Strength is sometimes not power. Sometimes it is the courage to keep breathing and the grace to rest. There is a line that has kept me many nights. It says that when the flesh gives way, diepe hol remains. The wording is simple. Its rhythm is quiet. It is a truth that sits like a small stone in the pocket of the soul. It does not demand clever answers. It asks for trust, to be practiced in the dark. Think of hands that have worked long. The skin is thin and the fingers slow. Those hands still know how to bless. They can fold a blanket without hurry. They can pat a shoulder with care that has learned patience. Strength in those hands is not a boast. It is a long, steady habit. Mercy grows out of such habits. When worry says the weakening makes one worthless, name the lie and set it aside. Use one breath to gather the thought and another to hand it over. I imagine a small table beside the bed. On it, I place a folded scrap with that anxious phrase written and then folded away. The act is simple. The ritual is real. It shifts the mind from pounding toward a softer keeping. There are nights when the chest feels thin as paper. A small act helps. Turn the head to a remembered kindness. Un éboug small favor. A friend's steady message. A hand that stayed. Let that memory come without argument. Let it warm the sternum for a moment. Mercy often arrives by memory. Mercy builds a ledger of small proofs. I read out a verse in low, careful tone and then pause. The pause is not empty. It is a place for the words to breathe. In that space, let a quiet prayer rise. One word will do. Stay, hold, keep. The prayer is not a demand. It is a reaching. The psalm answers with presence, not with a long explanation. Practical things help the body receive that presence. Smooth the blanket beneath the knees. Adjust the pillow so the neck rests easy. Warm the feet if they are cold. Small comforts are not indulgence. They are ways the nervous system learns. It is safe enough to slow down when the hands tremble with exhaustion. Let them be held. Imagine a hand that is firmer and softer than human hands. It does not shame the tremor. It steadies it. Picture that hand under your own at the wrist, lifting a little of the weight. The image calms because it is relational. Strength is not an abstract force. It is a kept promise that comes with a face. Sometimes strength looks like endurance. It is the choice to keep breathing one steady breath after another when answers do not arrive. This endurance is not spectacular. It is a small, repeated fidelity. Call it by a quiet name, faithfulness. The word is a kind of muscle. It grows when exercised gently. If the mind wanders to a long list of losses, do a brief sorting. Choose one fragment to hold in the light. Not everything at once. Name that single thing in a short phrase. Breathe into it. Place it in a bowl in the imagination. See the bowl as a safe place, not a pit. The bowl keeps the thing from rolling away into a storm of thoughts. There is a deep promise that goes beyond the present night. It says the heart has an eternal place that outlasts weakness. That promise is gentle, not triumphant. It gives a horizon that changes how tiredness feels. Small sorrow does not become the last word. The heart learns that it belongs to a story with an unending arc of care. When grief presses at the ribs, do a small ceremony of tending. Pick up the pebble kept by the lamp. Let it be heavy enough to feel, but small enough to hold. Breathe into the pebble the ache. On the out-breath, imagine placing the pebble into a larger hand. The hand closes and keeps it. The chest relaxes a fraction. The movement matters more than the image's perfection. Strength and fragility often live together in the Psalms. The poet does not pretend one cancels the other. Instead, they are companion notes in a single chord. There is dignity in frailty. There is honor in needing. Let that truth shift the posture of the night. Need is not shameful. It is human. It invites care. If shame creeps in with weakness, do not answer with harshness. Speak a gentle correction inwardly. Name the truth without drama. Let the voice of mercy be the louder one in that exchange. Mercy is not blind to failure. It is patient with it. It calls the heart back to the small practices that heal. Rest sometimes looks like surrender. Surrender is not defeat. It is the wise act of placing a burden into faithful hands. Try this now. Close the eyelids if that helps. Fold the hands loosely on the belly. Picture the burdens as little stones you can let fall one by one. With each exhale, release one stone into the imagined palm of care. Do this slow. Do it without hurry. The Psalms often use images that are earthly and immediate. A tree that stands by water. A rock that shelters a bird. The images are not poetic evasions. They are reminders that God's care is practical and close to the senses. Let such images be a map you visit tonight. Walk the path slowly. Touch the bark. Feel the cool of the stream. There is a kindness in small tasks the next day. Strength returns best when it is asked for in little measures. Plan one simple task for morning. It can be as small as making a cup of tea or stepping outside for a single deep breath. The promise of a small, manageable act eases the mind in the night. It gives a step to rise toward. Pray quietly for gentleness with the self. Ask for the mercy that teaches new ways to care for a weary body. The prayer need not be long. It only needs to be real. Mercy answers often not by dramatic healing, but by steady accompaniment. The companion you imagine is faithful whether sleep comes or not. If tears come, let them. They are part of the night's washing. Tears loosen things that have stayed too tight. Do not flinch from their soft work. The room holds those tears without making them a spectacle. They are ordinary, honest, and part of the small mending I read a short refrain, and then keep silence long enough for it to rest. The lamp breathes. The book settles. In that stillness, take one last, deliberate breath. On the out-breath, imagine the heart finding a steady land beneath the waves of fatigue. The land is not a place of absence. It is a presence that keeps. It will not be overtaken by the night. If sleep comes now, let it arrive with a blessing. May the strength that the heart hangs on be near. If wakefulness stays, lie with the image of the keeper's hand folded close. Keep the palm on the chest for a few breaths more. The pulse is a slow witness that you are held. I close the page slowly. The lamp dims a little. I offer a short blessing at the bedside. Soft and plain may the heart be strengthened tonight. May mercy keep the breath. May hope be a small lantern by the pillow. We will continue in the next portion. For now, rest in the assurance that weakness and strength can coexist. The one who holds the heart does not fail. The night watches with faithful hands. The body heals in its own time. The heart learns anew where true strength lives. I lift the Bible and hold it where the lamplight can touch the print. I speak the words slowly. My voice is close and steady. I tell you what this psalm names in plain terms: mercy first, compassion before verdict, a gracious heart that stays near. I do not speak as one who explains. I speak as one who sits with you at the bedside. The room is still. The blanket is warm. I read like someone handing over a small cup of tea. The taste is gentle. The ease is practical. The psalm I turn to pictures God as tender and slow to anger. That image rests like a soft shawl across the shoulders of a long day. Breathe in with me now. Fill the lungs gently. Hold for one soft beat. Breathe out. Let the shoulders fall a little more each time. With each out-breath, imagine the edges of your defense softening. The world need not be met with clenched fists tonight. Mercy invites a different posture. I say the words, and then I pause. The pause is long enough for the phrase to settle. Mercy is not loud. It does not shove. It leans in, quiet and sure. The psalm does not promise instant change. It promises a faithful kindness that does not run out. Imagine a garden that receives rain for many seasons. The rain is not a single spectacle. It is steady and plentiful. So is compassion. Place one hand over your heart. Feel the pulse there. Feel the small beat that keeps time without asking permission. The heartbeat is a simple proof that you continue. Let that proof be an opening. Let it be a reminder that you deserve care simply because you are living and breathing at this hour. Self-compassion may feel strange. The mind may protest that you must first be better. Dumori. Earn the ease. Let that protest be heard without being obeyed. Hear it, and then let it sit at a small distance. I invite a practice you can do now. Inhale slowly. Name one small thing that weighs on you, not the whole list. One small thing. Offer it to the quiet with a single phrase, I bring this to mercy. Then breathe out and let the phrase rest. If words help, speak one gentle sentence inwardly. Keep it plain. You might say, I am weary. I am known. I am allowed to rest. Say it once. Say it softly. The sentence does not need to be clever or complete. It simply needs to be true in the moment. Truth, when spoken kindly to oneself, opens a door into mercy. Think of a lamp that is never hurried. It does not flare and die. It is a lamp that stays on the windowsill for nights and years. That lamp describes compassion in the psalm. Mercy stays. It keeps vigil. It returns when the mind wanders into shame. It answers the call not with a long list of faults, but with a gentle hand. I describe Christ here in simple terms. I call him a keeper of the weary. The figure is not distant. He is near the bed, not to scold, but to steady. Imagine a hand placed lightly on the shoulder. In the dark, the hand does not press. It supports. It is enough to change the way the body breathes. When self-criticism rises, treat it as you would an unruly guest. Hear it. Offer it a chair that is not comfortable. Let it sit and speak itself out for a moment. Then provide a quieter companion, a truth that counters the sharpness. Perhaps say, I did what I could today. I will try again tomorrow. Keep the phrase small and return to it when the gusts of judgment come. There is a tenderness in the psalm. For the fragile, it names not only the grand sins, but the small daily failings that gnaw at the spirit. It offers mercy without tallying or tallying with a different aim restoration. The language is plain compassion, grace, boundless love. Let these words wash over the tender spots. They do not erase the memory of failure. They reshape it into a lesson that does not crush. I invite a simple ritual that fits the small hours. Take a slow breath and imagine a basin beside the bed. Into that basin you place one small regret. Fold it into a paper or a soft thought. Lay it there. See the basin as wide and kind. Watch the ripples fade. The act is not magic. It is a tangible way to hand over one thing, so the mind can stop rehearsing it through the night. If forgiveness still feels heavy, practice a tender phrase you can carry to sleep. Keep it to 4 words or fewer. Something like I am seen, I am forgiven. Repeat it 3 times with a quiet breath between each repetition. The short rhythm helps the nervous system accept the notion that shame does not govern the whole room. Compassion toward the self also has practical edges. Reassess the immediate needs of the body. Are the feet warm? Is the neck supported? Can the light be made dimmer? These small acts are not indulgent. They are ways the body tells the mind it is allowed to let down its guard. Mercy includes tending as much as words. It arrives as a warm blanket, a steady cup, a pillow fluffed just so. Sometimes mercy feels like a companion who remembers your name. When you are half listening to the night, let that memory rise. Recall a night when a friend did not leave, when someone waited. If a human face fails to appear, let the figure of a faithful keeper stand in the mind. Presence can be remembered, and so made available now. I do not promise that every fear will fall away. The Psalms are honest about trouble. They name storms, but they pair those storms with a truth. You do not face them alone. The compassion of God is a presence that walks through the same valley with you. It does not always change the weather. It stands beside and soothes the feet. When anxiety tightens the throat, try a small breathing pattern. Inhale for 3 counts. Hold for 1, exhale for 5. With each out-breath, imagine a thread of compassion lowering from above and wrapping itself around the chest. The wrapping is not binding. It is support. It tells the heart that weakening is not failure, but part of being cared for. Allow yourself to be imperfect tonight. Perfection is not the test at this hour. The measure is presence. The psalm invites acceptance. Accept the parts of you that are ragged. Acceptance does not excuse harm. It simply refuses to let shame be the only language. When the inner critic speaks, answer with a small, firm kindness. Say inside, I will be gentle now. I will rest as I can. I read another line and let it land like a small pebble. Mercy abounds. The abundance is not a mathematical guarantee. It is a promise of availability. Think of a storehouse that is full yet modest. Need comes, and something is given. That image is practical. It calms the mind that fears scarcity of care. If sleep presses uncertain, try a short labeling exercise. Name the feeling you carry with one word: fear, grief, tiredness, regret. Say it softly, then follow it with one more word: held. So you might say inside, tiredness held. The act of naming and then locating that thing in a posture of holding changes its power. The mind can breathe around it instead of being swallowed by it. Self-compassion practices are small but steady. Tonight, offer yourself one small kindness you would give to another. Maybe it is permission to go to bed early. Maybe it is a promise to try again tomorrow without replaying failures tonight. Promise gently. Keep the promise short. Let it be practical. As I read, I keep the cadence slow. My voice is a companion, not a judge. The words are short and clear. The images are near a lamp on the sill. A hand on the shoulder. A bowl that receives one folded worry. Let these images become anchors you can visit. If the night grows loud, I remind you that mercy is patient. It is slow to anger. It is abundant in steadfast love. These qualities are not fleeting. They repeat themselves like the tide. When the mind cycles back to harshness, return to the steady pattern of breath and the small practices we set together. Before I close this section, place both hands gently over the chest if that comforts. Feel the pulse. Breathe into the place that most resists ease. Offer a soft sentence inwardly. May I receive mercy as simply as I am. Let the words rest for a long beat. Let them sink into the room like a warm breath. I set the book aside for a moment and hold the silence with intention. The lamp throws a circle that is neither too small nor too wide. The watch remains. The mercy of these lines lingers like a quiet guest beside the pillow. Rest with the acceptance that you are allowed this pause. Soon I will open the page again and move toward a promise of renewal. There will be a fresh voice that speaks of washing, of new starts, and of a heart made clean. When we return, we will carry this mercy with us like a small lantern. For now, let compassion be the quiet room into which the night can enter. Let self-kindness sit beside you on the bed. The watch is kind. The guard remains faithful. Sleep, if it comes, will find a softer place to land. I close this part with a deliberate hush. Breathe once more. Place the head back. Keep the hands gently resting and the mind tender. The next passage waits, patient and ready to whisper of renewal. I open the book again and rest my hand on the page. The lamp keeps its small circle of light. The night's hush gathers like soft cloth. My voice stays low. The next thought is a gentle one. God can renew a steadfast spirit within us. This is what I will speak of now. Breathe in slowly. Hold for a small count. Breathe out. Let that rhythm be steady. Let the shoulders find ease. Let the jaw soften a little. Renewal begins with a breath. Renewal begins with an allowance to rest. I read words that picture newness. The picture is simple. Picture a dawn that comes after a long night. The first light is thin and patient. It does not demand attention. It arrives, and the world notices. Newness arrives the same way. It comes quietly, and then it grows. Think of a heart like soil. The soil rests under snow for a time. It does not stop working. It keeps its warmth in a slow way. When the sun relearns its root, the soil opens. Seeds begin small movements. Renewal is a slow root. It is not frantic. It is steady. Place a hand over the chest. Feel the pulse beneath the palm. The pulse keeps time without boasting. Each beat is a small promise that life continues. Let that small promise be a guide tonight. Let its steady measure be the rhythm of hope. I do not ask for sudden change. I invite a small turning. Turn the face toward a simple image. Picture a clear stream. The stream runs over stones. It does not hurry the rocks. It shapes the stones in time. The water is patient. The Rheinval often looks like a patient current. It wears away the sharp parts. It smooths, not by force, but by persistence. When the mind spins toward worry, name one small thing to set down. Not everything at once. One slip of paper, one phrase. Fold it and place it on the table of imagination. Hand it over in a single motion. The act is modest. It matters because it teaches the hands a new habit. A ritual helps the body learn renewal. Wash the face in the mind. Imagine cool water on the brow. Feel the water cool the temples. The water does not erase the day. It refreshes the skin. It makes a small space for new thought. Water is a faithful image of renewal. It cleanses gently, and it returns again. Christ's care is pictured here simply. The image is of steady hands that help mend a frayed garment. The hands do not judge the torn fabric. They stitch with care. The stitches are patient and repeated. Mercy is like that stitch. It holds the edges so new cloth can be placed over the old. Renewal happens in the mending. I speak in small sentences because rest prefers that pace. Short lines settle in the ear. They do not demand a rushed answer. They allow the heart to open enough for a small change. Keep the breathing slow. Let the cadence follow the voice. There is a practice for the night. Close the eyes if that is comfortable. Breathe in a deep, slow breath. Hold for a brief beat. Breathe out and imagine a soft light pouring down into the chest. See that light warm the places that feel cold. Let it fill the rib cage like a gentle sunrise. Picture a small garden that belongs to you. It is not large. It has one bench and a single apple tree. The tree shows last season's marks. They do not shame it. They become part of the shape. In spring, new leaves arrive along the branches. The tree does not pretend the old storms never happened. It simply continues to grow. The heart follows the same pattern. Renewal does not erase past pain. It lets new green appear beside the scars. When fatigue is heavy, accept a mild rule. Do one thing at a time. Choose small actions. Make a cup of tea tomorrow at a gentle hour. Walk to the window and watch the daylight. These small practices are soft muscles. Practiced often, they strengthen the whole frame. If doubt whispers that renewal is too late, answer it with a memory. Think of a morning when help arrived at a strange hour. Maybe it was a call that steadied the hands. Maybe it was a meal left by a neighbor. Small kindnesses prove that care returns again. Keep one of those memories near the pillow. Let it be proof that new mercies can arrive overnight. I read a line that invites patience. The line asks the heart to be steady as a person waiting for rain. The waiting is not passive. It is a careful watching. Expect small signs, a shift in the air, a darker cloud, a sudden scent of wet on the breeze. Renewal often begins with small hints. Learn to notice them. A simple gesture helps the nervous system. Sit up for a moment and stretch the arms overhead very slowly. Let the fingers open like a flower. Release. Feel the spine lengthen. These small physical adjustments teach the body it is permitted to enter a new register. The body listens to motion as much as to thought. When guilt treads the night, hand it a measure. Name the wrong in a short phrase. Offer it a place to live for a while, and then fold it into the palms of mercy in imagination. The giving is not a denial. It is a realism that says this thing is known and will be tended. Renewal includes honestending. Repeat a short sentence inwardly. 3 breaths apart. A phrase can be plain, be made new. Say it gently. Do not push the words. Let them sit like a pebble on a calm surface. The surface does not need to ripple. The pebble is enough. I remember nights when renewal felt like a distant story. In those hours, a single small action made a difference. Someone set a warm blanket over tired knees. That small care taught the body it was allowed to soften. Think of care like that, not dramatic, but steady. Small mercies turn into new patterns. The Psalms do not promise instant transformation. They promise presence that slowly reshapes the heart. The presence is like a potter's hand. It turns and forms. There is no rush. The clay yields to time and a steady touch. Allow the shaping to be slow tonight. Name one place where strength feels small. Bring that spot into the light of imagination. Breathe toward it and see a gentle warmth take hold. The warmth is not a cure in one breath. It is a beginning. Let it stay until the breathing slows and the chest grows softer. Practice a small act of gratitude. List 3 tiny mercies from the day. A warm cup, a quietude, a friend's brief word. Say them softly. Each named mercy becomes a seed for renewal. Plant them lightly in the mind and water them with the breath. I keep my voice low. The tempo stays slow. The sentences are short. This pace helps the mind follow without strain. The reading is not a lecture. It is an invitation to lie down a little differently inside the night. Renewal often comes in the morning, but the work for it begins at night. Prepare the soil now. Lay out a plan that is simple and kind. Choose one small practice for morning a walk, a cup of tea, a few verses read slowly. Don't design a long program. Make a small brick. Tomorrow, another brick. Over time, a path will be formed. If fear rises, that renewal will fail. Make a small covenant with yourself. Promise one modest thing to try again tomorrow, and to let one small kindness be the measure. Keep the promise soft and realistic. The mind responds better to gentle commitments. Think of renewal as a repairing rather than a replacement. Old things are not thrown away. They are sewn into a new weave. The scar becomes part of the cloth that keeps the warmth. This image is not meant to gloss pain. It is meant to show how the tender and the new can live together. I pause now and let silence gather. In that quiet, breathe slowly. Feel the pulse under the palm. Notice how the breath is a small, faithful instrument. Let it hum the same note over and over. Consistent breath makes a small cadence that the heart can trust. As the end of this section nears, picture a simple table by the bed. On it lies a small bowl of water. Dip one finger and touch the forehead in imagination. The touch is cooling. It is not dramatic. It is a small sign that tonight can be a place for renewal. The gesture is practical and calm. Keep a small object near the pillow if you like, a smooth stone or a cloth. Let it be a tactile reminder that renewal is possible. When the mind grows loud, rest a hand on the object. Feel its weight. Let the mind find a foothold. I close this part with a soft assurance. A steadfast spirit can be made new. The change is slow. It is gentle. It comes in small breaths, small acts, and steady presence. I will read a closing prayer and offer blessings next. For now, rest in the thought that renewal is near enough to touch when the heart learns to breathe and to wait. I lift the Bible one last time. The pages are warm from the lamp. The room holds a hush. The voice is low. The goal is peace. A short breath first. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. Let the shoulders drop. Let the jaw soften. Let the breath be slow and even. The small rhythm steadies the body. It steadies the mind. Tonight gathers all the small threads. Mercy, grace, hope, rest. Each has been brought like a lantern along the way. Now they sit together on the bedside table. They do not shout. They simply light the space. Think of a quiet shore. The tide comes in slowly. Each wave touches the sand and goes again. Nothing about the wave is hurried. The shore receives and keeps its shape. The night works in that patient way. It receives what the day brings and holds it until dawn. There is nothing to fix right now. The work of night is different. It is the work of keeping and letting go. Place one small worry on the palm. Feel its weight for a moment. Then hand it over in the imagination to a steadier hand. The handing is an act. It teaches the body to soften. A small image helps. Picture a soft blanket folded on a chair. It waits. When the cold comes, the blanket is there. It does not argue about why the cold arrived. It simply covers and warms. Let that blanket be mercy. Let it rest across the shoulders of the heart tonight. If words get loud, return to breath. Breathe in for 3. Hold 1. Breathe out for 5. Make the out breath longer than the in. Repeat quietly. The breath becomes a small metronome. The metronome drowns the rumor of panic. The chest has room to ease. Memory can be a kind servant. Bring to mind one small kindness from the day. A shared smile. A warm drink. A short message that read like care. Hold that memory like a pebble. Turn it in the hand. Let it be proof that mercy visits in small parcels. Hope is not always loud. Sometimes hope is a single candle in a window. It does not banish night. It shows a way. Keep a mental candle by the bedside. When the mind begins to spin, look for that flame and follow its small light. There will be mornings to make plans. Tonight is for rest. There is courage in resting. It is a quiet courage. It does not demand proof. It trusts that the day will come with its work. The night will have done its part by letting the body repair. If the chest holds pain, do not hide it. Name it in one short phrase. Fold the phrase into a gentle, imaginable paper. Place the paper into a safe box in the mind. The box is not a dismissal. It is a holding place. When morning comes, the box can be opened and sorted with clearer eyes. Forgiveness lives here too. If regel presses, speak one honest word inwardly and then set it down. Forgiveness is teachable. It arrives slowly. It mends because hands return to the work. The Psalms show mercy as a steady stitch, not a sudden tear. Companionship matters at night. The voice you hear now reads as a neighbor who sits at the window. The neighbor does not announce judgment. The neighbor keeps watch. That kind of care changes the tone of the dark. Keep the sense of company close. Strength at night is small and true. It is the kind that steadies breath and softens shoulders. Strength here asks only for one small action at a time. Make a small plan for the morning. Let it be gentle. Let it be possible. Tiny steps form paths. Grace is abundant in small acts. A warmed cup. A lamp left on. A hand that smooths the hair of the weary. Imagine those small acts as seeds. They sprout kindness over time. Let that image sit near the pillow. If fear will not leave, duas mãos ritual, hold a stone. Real or imagined, press it into the palm. Name the fear with one brief label. Set the stone on the bedside. Imagine the keeper of the night lifting the stone into a larger hand. Watch the keeper settle it down. The ritual shifts the noise by giving the body something to do. Allow the eyes to soften if they close. Let sleep come if they stay open. Keep listening to the slow cadence of the words. The voice will be steady until the end. The pace will not hurry. Silence will be part of the reading. Silence is itself gentle company. Remember the image of the fortress. thick walls do not deny the weather. They simply make a place for shelter. Tonight, the fortress surrounds the heart. Inside, a small lamp burns. Inside, a chair waits. Inside, a keeper watches the door. The keeper is patient and kind. Trust that keeping, there is space for tears. They are not failure. They are a soft rain that loosens tight soil. If tears come, let them be part of the cleansing. The body needs water, as the earth does. Tears make room for new growth. A practice to carry into sleep. Count 3 blessings. They can be small. The warmth of a blanket, the taste of a warm drink, a voice that read to you tonight. Let each blessing be a bead. Move them slowly on an invisible string. The beads steady the thoughts. Place the hand on the chest. Feel the pulse. Each beat is a steady fact. Each beat is a wordless assurance presence. Breathe with that rhythm. Let the pulse and the breath be a small choir in the body. They sing without pressure. They sing for keeping. There may be lingering questions that have no answer tonight. Let the unanswered ones rest. Some questions are best left for morning light. The night is not a courtroom. It is a shelter. Give the questions a place to be quiet. The reading draws near its close. The pages fold gently. The lamp will dim in a moment. This is not an abrupt leave. It is an intention. The ending is deliberate. It holds the whole night, like a hand holds a cup. I will offer a short prayer now. The prayer is plain. It is not a lecture. It is a handing over and a resting. Lord, steady the hearts that listen. Let your grace draw near like gentle rain. Envelope every fear with your kind presence. Hold what is fragile. Mend what is torn. Let mercy find the places that ache. Grant rest that heals the body and calms the mind. Keep watch through the night. Wake the morning with a renewed spirit and gentle light. Guard each breathing, each small pause, each slow turn of thought. Let hope sit softly by the bedside. Amen. A final blessing now. May peace rest on the shoulders. May mercy sit like a small shawl. May hope be a faint lamp near the pillow. May grace be nearer than worry. Sleep, when it comes, is safe. Wake with a soft heart. The Bible closes with a quiet thump. The lamp breathes lower. The voice grows still. The room keeps its hush. Rest now. The watch continues. The night is kept in gentle hands. Amen.